All right, folks, once again, Matt Canizaro and Aaron Smith getting settled in here at the National Bowling Stadium. We're live behind lanes 27 and 28 at the 2013 USBC Open Championships. A little bit of a change of plans today, as we've said a couple times already. We tuned in today to see USBC Hall of Famer Leanne Barrett Holzenberg, but after yesterday's team event excitement, we saw Lodge Lanes 2 roll the highest team score in tournament history, 35-38. Here at the NBS, so we're going to turn our attention to them today for doubles and singles and see if they can find equal success in team all events and, of course, our minor events, doubles, singles, all events, you name it. Once again, the team members, Miss Simsensky from Novi, Michigan, a 1987 team all events champion. Vernon Peterson, former Team USA member. John Gaines, a three-time winner here at the Open Championships. John Janowitz, a former record holder at the Open Championships and two-time winner in 2004 right here at the NBS. And PBA champion Scott Newell. So there's Scotty on the right lane right there, shooting at the 1-2-4-7, no problem. And as we get settled in here, we'll have the action for you. Of course, there it is on the scoreboard. And their score yesterday, again, 35-38, highest score in history. And the number they're chasing today for the team all events lead, 10,065, and if they're going to reach record status again, 10,425. A little bit of work to do. Gaines and crew back in 1997-98, back-to-back team all events champions, came very close to that record of 10,425. Came up 4 pins short. Gaines is motivated, as are his teammates. Let's see, here goes Gaines, getting ready to step up on the left lane. A little bit of a rough start today. Open, 9 spare. But we'll see if everybody can get settled in and have another great run. Aaron Smith, how's it going today?
So far, so good today, Matt. A lot of excitement here last night. One of the things you may not have let everybody in with. They beat the previous record by not only 1 pin. That was Brugger Bagels of Albany, New York. Previously held the record for the past 20 years. Shot 35-37 in the 1993 Open Championships. And to add to the excitement last night, Lodge Lanes 2 anchor John Janowitz had to throw all 3 strikes in the 10th to get to the number to beat it by 1 pin. So certainly a lot of excitement here at the National Bowling Stadium last night. It was quite memorable, a lot of emotion from the team as they set the record. And they're looking to do it again today. The 6th member of this doubles and singles pairing, Matt Gilman from Pembroke Pines, Florida, bowled on the companion team last night, hammerbowling.com, which actually moved up into the top 10 as well with a 32-47 series. Members of that group include Jeff Ussery, Sean Lee, who shot a 300 at the 2008 Open Championships during his team event, Keith Nolan, and Mike Seeley. That group put together games at 10:33, 11:27, and 10:87 to help Lodge Lanes 2 along there. Historic path. Lodge Lanes 2 was paced by Vernon Peterson, who's up now on lane 28, covering the 4.7. Went 7.72 last night. John Janowitz was next with 7.52. John Gaines, 6.81. Mitch Jabzinski, 6.69. And Scott Newell, 6.64. So all-around great effort, which obviously you need to get your name on a banner up here at the National Bowling Stadium.
Well, Aaron Smith, it seems like where there's excitement, there's chaos. It's certainly not going smooth here for us right now, at least, as we're getting settled in. I know a lot of folks tuning in to see USBC Hall of Famer Leanne Holstenberg. And Leanne just a few pairs away, so we'll keep an eye on her. But our attention, of course, on the new record holders as they chase history again here on this lovely Wednesday afternoon here in Reno. We appreciate everybody joining us across the country. Things are smoothing out for us and hopefully for this Lodge Lanes 2 team as well. Scotty Newell up on the right lane looking for a double. Jabzinski started this game with 3 strikes in a row as Newell missed the headpin to the right again. So perhaps a little bit of nerves and perhaps just needing a few minutes to get lined up on this doubles and singles lane condition. Of course, for the first time in history, a different condition for team event and then doubles and singles. And they whacked the team pattern yesterday, 35-38, the new team record here at the Open Championships, but a brand new day and a brand new pattern. So we'll see what these guys can do out here. The doubles and singles pattern is about 2 feet shorter. Well, not about, it is 2 feet shorter than the 41-foot team pattern that they saw yesterday. But I got to bowl alongside these guys at the Bowler's Journal yesterday morning and saw them bowl the day before, and they had little trouble finding a way to score down at the Bowler's Journal. And of course, this year's Storm Bowler's Journal Championships being contested on the doubles and singles lane conditions. So once they get past the nerves and the excitement and get settled in, no doubt we'll see some fireworks here at the National Bowling Stadium, lanes 27 and 28. Thanks for joining us. Aaron Smith tells me that while we're focused here on the low side of the house, 1 through 28, there's somebody down on lane 50 with 7 strikes in a row. So, of course, now's the opportunity to check out our new X Bowling app on your iPhone or Android device, or go check out xbowling.com/tournament and the tournament edition of that very cool feature. Free app, of course. You can tune in to lane 50 and see how that gentleman is doing down there, or lady for that matter, with the front 7. We'll keep an eye on that for you as well and let you know. We'll let you know what's going on down there as well. So a lot of excitement already here, and it's only game 1. Pretty good crowd on hand today. Looks like Ron Wood, Norm Cummings, Willie Wells, some top names here in the Reno area, of course. Matt McNeil stopping by as well. So everybody wants to know how are the record holders going to hold up in doubles and singles today. There's still a lot of work to be done here. 10,065, certainly not a small number at all. I know you've done some calculations on what they're going to need today, what they need to average. Hopefully you have all that with you. Please go ahead and share with the world what's it going to take today to see history once again.
Well, for starters, with looking at the current leaders, Team Tilda of Lawrence, Kansas, to reach 10,065, this group will have to put together 6,528 pins to take the lead. That's approximately 218 a guy. And for the big picture, for the to take home another banner up top, for another record to reach the 10,425 of Pollard's Bowl, they'll need to record 6,888 pins here in doubles and singles, which is right around 230 a guy. So certainly have their work cut out for them here.
Things not going too smoothly here in game number 1. Unfortunately, John Gaines with just 1 strike. 2 strikes now through 7 frames with 3 opens. So I'm not sure what's going on with Mr. Gaines today. And I don't know, hard to say at this point, but a lot happened yesterday, a lot of excitement and a lot of pressure, no doubt. I understand how much this event means to him specifically, just based on his history here and his understanding of the traditions and the history of the tournament as a whole, and how much it would mean for him to be able to share that winning opportunity with these teammates. He's worked hard to put together this team, potentially almost rivaling the caliber of players he bowled with back in 97, 98. Chris Barnes, Pat Healy, Tommy Jones. So very solid group back then, but of course now the best in the game assembled here, arguably. Scotty Newell, recent PBA champion, and Janowitz, I think his record speaks for itself, 5-time Team USA member, 2 Eagles here in 2004. He shot 858, the only 800 of the year, on the way to the singles and all events titles, 22-24, his all events total that year. An amazing feat with a pair of 300 games, or 1 300 game and 2 279s. And of course, he's shined on various stages throughout the world as a member of Team USA, collected medals all over the world, and very knowledgeable of the game. Vernon Peterson, Team USA Trials champion back in the 1990s, has been on Team USA, understands team bowling, the concept, and also studies the game down in Florida, works for Kegel as well, so a lot of insight and knowledge there. And he shined yesterday with a 772 series to lead the team. And flirted with the first 800 of the year, came up a little bit short, but obviously these guys got just enough pins to break the record by a single pin, and it was Janowitz who stepped up huge in the 10th frame and buried probably the 3 best shots I've ever seen him throw to take that record down. It was pretty awesome.
It certainly was, Matt. And talking about, I don't know if you got a chance to talk to any of the members of the team before we started here today, but they were a very, for such a big accomplishment yesterday, they were emotional, but they were very calm and collected right afterwards, and composed themselves like the champions that they have proven to be in the past. And you just got to be curious after sleeping on the accomplishment, and just kind of processing what happened here. Certainly an experienced group, but still it has to weigh down a little bit, I would imagine.
Well, again, team event, just one event of 3 here at the USBC Open Championships, and these guys look big picture. I know for a lot of our top players, team all events is where it's at. Of course, there's little steps along the way to get there. It's a marathon, certainly not a sprint. It's 45 games, 9 games for each of the 5 guys. You have to communicate through it. There's going to be ups and downs along the way. There's going to be high games, low games. You have to work through it, talk through it, and it's really the team that's the most consistent. I mean, sometimes you'll have a guy absolutely shoot the lights out, and then another guy along for the ride. Where I always thought that would be my role, on the coattails, and then you see guys just everybody doesn't equal share. You just don't know, but it's a matter of keeping everybody up and focused and making good shots. And if somebody's having a rough time, you work together to line them up and get every pin you can. And they knew that yesterday. Janowitz had no idea what he needed. He said it was probably better that way, and he stepped up and delivered. But not because it was for the record, but because that's what you do. That's why he was the anchor. Your goal when you step up on the approach every time is to knock down every pin that you can. Doesn't matter the circumstances, doesn't matter if you're in last place or you're chasing the record. You want to knock down every single pin. That's how he approaches every shot in his career. That's what he's doing right now. He's not thinking about what's on the scoreboard or what the possibilities are or what happened yesterday. He's focused on knocking those 10 pins down, and that is all. That is, tunnel vision, call it what you want. You have to focus on one frame, one shot at a time, and it's cliche. John Gaines said it yesterday, but that's really what you have to do. You have to block it out. And as you said, they were doing their own things in the back. I did see them. A couple of them were warming up, a couple were stretching, a couple were doing different things. They're preparing how they prepare. And, whatever you need to do to get your mind right. And certainly they know what they accomplished yesterday is unbelievable. It's the highest score ever in 110 years of competition. They get that, but they're also focused on the big picture and the little pieces that you have to put together to get there. And they've been champions before, so they understand what it takes and what the right mindset is, and they'll celebrate yesterday later. I know they will. It'll be a big deal. It'll really hit them when they get home and they look at the leaderboards and they see the magnitude of it and they get the congratulations at home. But right now, it's about game 1 of doubles. Guaranteed that's what all of them are thinking about. In the back of their minds, maybe, what could be. Vernon Peterson has not won at this event. He's won plenty of other things in his day, but he is very excited about the possibility of their score holding up and seeing his name on a banner next year here at the Open Championships. Obviously, if it does hold up, it will be on 2 banners. As the highest score ever, the record banner down on one side of the venue, and of course the 2013 champion banners that hang over the lanes here as well. So right now they're bowling right underneath the banner for last year's Team All Events champion, SMB Pro Shop 1 of Clinton Township, Michigan. Bill Orlikowski, Wissinger, Mark Moore, Kerry Kraft, and Dave Ewald. And just for history's sake, Aaron, Orlikowski was on the team that stopped Gaines' run in 1999. It could have easily been 3 Team All Events titles in a row for Lodge Lanes and Gaines back then. But Orlikowski and his group, not the same 5 guys, but Orlikowski and his guys ended up claiming that title in 99 and ending that run at 2. So right now we're headed into the 10th frame here very shortly of game 1 of doubles. And again, these guys need to average 218. And that doesn't sound like a lot based on, league averages around the country, of course, and what these guys are capable of. But very challenging sport bowling certified lane condition here at the Open Championships. 39 feet here in doubles and singles. And, a little less than 3-to-1 ratio, so you have to make good shots. You have to make your spares, of course. And every squad now at this year's event bowled on fresh oil. So these gentlemen are coming to a fresh pair of lanes, and no doubt working together as a team to get comfortable and perhaps break down the oil pattern a little bit to where they can see the kind of ball reaction they had yesterday in the team event.
Nice break there for Janowitz, tripping out the 2. Takes a little luck along the ways as well. Seems like this doubles and singles pattern has kind of been the trickiest thing for folks to figure out so far, at least on the fresh here in doubles. It's we've seen a lot of teams come through and put together nice team efforts, a handful of 3200s and 3300s already, but only the team tilt group really seemed to start off strong in game 1 of doubles and have that keep going all the way through singles. They ended up they actually shot higher in doubles than they did in team on their way to their 1065. After a 33-26 start for their team event, they came back the next day with 34-78 in doubles. So that seems to be the most challenging for most folks. Obviously less people on the lanes. With this pattern being fresh as well, every squad being fresh now, this is teams really have to work together to create the best look for everybody.
So, Aaron, a little bit of history on this Lodge Lanes group. Last year they were on our live stream broadcast for the team event. That unfortunately lost in cyberspace somewhere. They bowled very well, cracked the top 10, came back the next day to take the lead in team all events. Of course, early in the tournament, they bowled first weekend in April last year as well. And a good showing, no doubt. Definitely they knew when they were leaving the score wasn't high enough to hold on to win. And of course, S&B Pro Shop came in and proved that. But these guys wanted bad. You know, they're glad to have that team event yesterday. And they'd love to be able to leave on top again in another event. And again, when we were here in 2011, the Lodge Lanes guys were bowling on the far end of the bowling center, and we were actually watching our defending doubles champions, Steve Bone and John Cryer, trying to get it done. Again, they bowled very well, but while they were bowling doubles and we had them on the live stream camera, the K&K Bowling Services group from Las Vegas was just to our left. And they were making a huge run. They absolutely blew it out of the water in team all events, and we turned our cameras to them eventually, while Lodge Lanes quietly was on the other side of the bowling center trying to do the same thing. Came up a little bit short. One of the bowlers, Mike Seeley from the companion team, bowled a 299 game. And those guys, they're always in the mix of it. They're in the thick of it for sure. And they certainly have a head start with 35-38 here yesterday. But still, 10,065, a huge number, only the 34th 10,000 in history. John Gaines has been part of a couple of those over the years, and would love for that to happen again as he strikes there. 173 start for Gaines here in game number 1. Jabzinski, 232. I have a feeling we're going to be saying that wrong all day. I might need to go check on that here in just a minute. But 232. Vernon Peterson still stepping up here in just a minute. Possible 209. Scott Newell looking to get into the 200s as well. So you got the scoreboard there, you got a shot of the pins, and there is Newell up on the left lane. We might have to move the camera. He is playing way left on the approach, and he leaves a ring 10 there.
To our left, Leanne Holsenberg, who we originally had scheduled today, kicked off her doubles event with a 188, her Doubles partner, William Nichols, cleans up his spare here. We'll have a 198 start. Like Scott Newell tried a different ball there for his fill, as is Vernon Peterson. So this group's trying to get trying to find a different matchup here. Scores are definitely not as high as they'd like them to be here in the early going of doubles. Newell finishes with 182. Peterson a clean 195. John Janowitz steps up on lane number 27 to finish out his 10th framing. 3 strikes. He'll start off doubles with a 218. Great shot there by Janowitz to get him into the 2 teams. Like even Janowitz tried a different ball there on the fill, just for something different. So we saw at least 3 of the guys try something new, trying to get lined up for game number 2. And with game number 1 of doubles in the books, the Lodge Lanes 2 crew, the composite 5, went 999. 1 pin short of breaking even for the first game of minors here. So next 5 games definitely going to be an uphill battle to reach not only team tilt, but see if they can make a run at Pollard's Bowl and 10,425. Looks like Mitch switched to, or excuse me, Vernon switched to a Pearl IQ Tour. That's actually what he was using yesterday during his team event. At least in the last game, did get a chance to see the first two in person. But that ball certainly worked well for him on his way to a 772 series. As Matt mentioned earlier, he still had a chance at the tournament's first 800 going into the 9th frame before a 10-pin derailed that run. But Peterson got there through games of 279, 247, and 246.
So Aaron just got word from the Orlando Sentinel that it's a huge paper, obviously, in the Orlando area, and they're asking for a picture of John Gaines and crew. So this Florida team making headlines back home. That's what we do. We let them do the hard part, and then we tell the world about it, and it's very rewarding when the news gets out to the bowling world and the regular world as well. That there was a record at the Open Championships. A big deal. 110 years in the making. Amazing to see and be a part of, and let's see if they can get lined up and make another run of history again today.
And we gave him a call late last night after all the excitement settled down a little bit. We were able to get everything together, and special thanks to the Orlando Sentinel for being interested. Up on the right lane. Start off strongest with a 232 out of the group. It seems like he's ran into a bit of struggle here in game number 2 as everyone else has kind of gotten lined up. John Gaines starting off with the front 2. He's up on 27. That is something you don't see too often out here. John Gaines letting a 7-pin get by.
All right, Aaron, some folks in the chat room curious about why we're not watching Leanne Holstenberg right now, and simple answer is that these gentlemen in front of you right now, Lodge Lanes 2, hold the highest team score in tournament history yesterday, 35-38, and we've turned our attention to them in their doubles and singles as they try to chase down the team all events lead and potentially another record as well. Leanne Holstenberg a few pairs away. We've got our eye on her for sure. And we'll keep you posted on her scores today. We hope everybody understands. We know some folks tuned in specifically to see her, but well, history in the making. So we had to make a game time decision, and here we are. So we do appreciate everybody joining us once again. Matt Cannizzaro and Aaron Smith here at the National Bowling Stadium. 2013 USBC Open Championships. Our team leaders and record holders, Lodge Lanes 2, getting it done here on lanes 27 and 28. And just to our right, Matt McNeil is here as well. We'll hear from him in just a little while. He was front and center for the record performance yesterday, so we'll get his thoughts and potentially his advice for any folks coming in later trying to chase down that number. His own team will be here in just a couple of weeks, and they have a little bit more work to do now. And some big numbers to shoot at. Great shot there by John Gaines. He scratched his head after leaving the 6-7-10, but he picked it up. So I guess if you're going to leave it, you better pick it up, and he did. But now I'm going to rethink what's going on and try to regroup for frame number 5.
Looks like Sky Duel made another ball change there, possibly to, I think that might have been the ball he started off with. Trying to find something consistent here.
Aaron, it looks like they're going to the bag again, trying to get things worked out. Jepsinski with 4 shots so far this game, all less than 8. So you got a pair of opens and a pair of spares, but they need to get him in the pocket right away.
That first game, Jabzinski actually led the group with 232 and it actually looked like he was throwing something with a little more surface. And now he's been going back and forth with a few different balls here. Found the pocket with that one, but 10-pin did not cooperate. Let's see what kind of adjustment John Gaines makes here after the 6-7-10 last frame. Goes high again.
Got Newell with a double there for Lodge Lanes 2. Still tons and tons of work to do, but we've seen it before, Aaron, and I saw it on this pair actually earlier in the year. Our first big single set, 771. The gentleman, part of their strategy was to play the lanes together and try to break down the oil pattern, and he ended up with 460, I believe, in doubles, and then they made a huge move based on what the strategy was and came back with 771. So I know there's certainly not time for that at this point, but as these guys get comfortable and the lanes start to open up, I imagine, just as in the team event usually, we'll see some big scores. Of course, they started yesterday with the biggest score of the year. So a little different strategy, a little different situation. Typically, the goal of the team event is to break them down, and sometimes you might sacrifice a few pins early, but then to open the lanes up and have some room later on for big scores at the end. They were pretty consistent yesterday, so potentially the new oil, the Kegel Ice, playing a role in that, or their game plan. Hard to say, but of course when they were done yesterday, we didn't talk strategy, we talked records, and 35-38. That's a monster.
Monster indeed. Nice shot by Mitch Jabzinski, getting his first strike in game number 2 here after some early struggles. Scott Newell up on 28, going for 3 in a row.
All right, Aaron Smith, I got some big news from the lanes. Just tracked down Mitch. I wanted to make sure we were saying his name correctly, and of course, we were not, as with all the Midwestern names sometimes. A little bit tough to say, and all kinds of letters in there that just don't work out. So it is Jabinski. It's that easy. Jabinski. I don't know how you get Jabinski out of what's on the scoreboard. I'm not sure, but that's how it is. So I'm gonna send the word to Matt Lawson at headquarters, and he'll be Jabinski for the rest of the day, because I think he would know better than any of us.
Jabinski, Mitch Jabinski. There we go.
So here goes Mitch Jabinski up on the right lane. Looking for a double after a rough start here in game number 2. Mitch, a 1987 Team All Events champion, and now a longtime player in the PBA and the PBA Senior Tour, PBA 50 as they're now called. So he'll be potentially heading out for the USBC Senior Masters and the Senior US Open here in the next couple months, but I imagine he'd love to leave Reno in the lead in a couple of events here. He's bowled 41 years here at the Open Championships. Certainly a lot of history, a lot of experience, and he's the senior leader of the group. Gave him 669 yesterday in the team event. Not a bad effort at all. I know he's had some back trouble in the recent past, and the aches and pains and things not working as well as they used to, but certainly didn't show. And he came through, left a 10 pin. He's their leadoff guy, and left a 10 pin. First shot in the 10th frame yesterday as they were chasing down the record. And I don't know about you, but having to stare down that corner pin, potentially the biggest shot of his career. I mean, I know he's accomplished some things, but the team event certainly on the pedestal is the priority at this event. Team event, team all events. It's all about the team. And he covered that 10 pin no problem. Struck on the fill ball, of course, as we know, every pin very important yesterday. And he set the pace. As a leadoff guy, threw a great shot and got the team in the right mindset heading into the 10th frame. And then John Gaines came up and delivered a big strike, first shot in the 10th. For him, that was a 4-bagger for him. Got him into the 220s. He did not strike again, and that really set the tone. And of course, it came down to Janowitz. As we said, here he is on the left lane, trying to get back on track here. But he actually finished yesterday with 6 consecutive strikes in the 257 game. But the ball was in his hand, and he delivered probably 3 of the most solid shots of his career. And got it done. So he's got 2 individual eagles, but nothing better than sharing that feeling with your team and hoisting those eagles over your head. I know Matt McNeil here with us. He'll be on in just a few minutes. But he's had the opportunity to win a couple of individual titles and a doubles title last year. But he is part of a pretty spectacular group from Minnesota. They have a couple eagles as well in that area. And now he's trying to help them back in the team event. So 35-38, a big number for them to shoot at. But they've come close in recent years, and see what happens in a couple weeks. But nothing better, I'm sure, than these guys. And being able to share that with your 4 or 5 teammates, get out there, and there's Vernon Peterson delivering a big strike. He wants it. He's the one that doesn't have one, and he wants to get there.
Yeah, and talking to these guys afterwards, the concept of team bowling was up front and by a long shot. These guys really enjoy that aspect of it, and they certainly know how to work together. Janowitz, Peterson, and Gaines all having time with Team USA out on the big stage internationally, and it's just been able to translate so well here at the Open Championships. These guys are contenders every single year. As Gaines gets a 4-pin out late there in lane 28. Well,
Aaron, I can tell you, I've known some of these guys for going on 25 years now, and they actually invited me to dinner yesterday after they were done, so they could go celebrate. I didn't get the chance to go. Of course, it would have been great to celebrate and hear the conversation that was going on, but I don't want to throw them under the bus or anything, but I saw some tears yesterday when they got done. It meant that much to them, of course. The record and just the biggest stage here in bowling. John Gaines for sure. He's the big scary guy of the group, as I always say. Very intimidating, very large man at 6'5", I believe. And there were some tears there, and Chabinski as well. He's been at this a long time, and he knows 41 years is a long career, and to find this success that late, pretty emotional as well. And Janowitz is a sensitive guy. He understands what it's all about. And of course, having won here, he understands even more. But he's a historian, Team USA member. He studies the game. He travels the world for bowling, with bowling. So I saw it, and I don't blame them. Just watching was pretty emotional as well. But with that said, Aaron, you've had the opportunity at the Women's Championships. You saw Jody Wessner shoot the all-time highest all events total, 23-30 back in 2010. You saw a couple great sets there. And, you were here last year, or 2 years ago in 2011 as a bowler, actually on the same squad as Jeff Riggles and his guys, as they shot the highest game in team history to take the lead and eventually the regular team title. But can you really put yesterday in perspective? I know I personally have been here to see all but the team all events record. I saw Ron Vokes in 2009 shoot a score, honestly, that I thought was going to stand for 20 years. I just thought it was that unbelievable. He broke the record, shot 23-21. I thought that was it. I thought he was taking home 2 Eagles that year. That didn't happen when Bill Gergen came in and shot 862 in singles. And then, of course, the very next year, Matt McNeil comes out of nowhere and shoots 23-26.
What was his name again?
Yeah, Matt McNeil shoots 23-26. And again, breaking a record that I thought was a monster for sure, and it wasn't going anywhere. And then, of course, the very emotional doubles record, 15-66. Brenda and Steven Padilla, about to be married. Las Vegas, a very meaningful place to them. The Open Championship is very meaningful to Brenda as a family destination for many years with her dad and her sisters. And really just to see the emotion there when the soon-to-be husband and wife took down the doubles record and, of course, the title at that point. So, again, having been a part of all of those moments, I'll rank yesterday pretty high, if not at the top. But in your experience, can you describe yesterday?
I've been with the tournaments since 2009, and I've had a few very memorable moments at both tournaments. With the Women's Championships, Jody was on lanes 1 and 2 of the El Paso Convention Center and kind of off in her own little world as everyone else was bowling. We had a full squad. We were actually live streaming, preparing for the Queens, myself and Lucas Wiseman. And all of a sudden we just kept looking over there and Jody kept striking, and all of a sudden here we were. She was at 816 and Jody was just, phenomenally excited. There we go.
It's a big word, Smith.
Very. And, that was just fantastic. Obviously, we had a lot of fun with Emma Hendrickson, our 100-year-old bowler. But the 3 moments, if I had to rank them in the top 3, the 3 most memorable moments are 2010, we had the ITCs in El Paso at the Convention Center. And back home in Indiana, Calumet College was local for me, and I knew a bunch of the guys on that team, and to watch them make a fantastic run all the way to the finals against Wichita State was just very fun to be a part and watch those guys just put together a fantastic run. And then you mentioned, yes, although I wasn't working for the tournament in 2011, not too far away from here, we were bowling team event on 25 and 6, and you and Emil Williams Jr. were live streaming Jeff Riggles and the Turbo 2-in-1 guys on 29 and 30, and after a slow first game, they just started striking that last game, and before you knew it, they were the only lanes going. had all eyes on there, and to watch them go 12-81 to not only end up eventually winning the title, but set the record as well was just breathtaking to see team bowling at that aspect. And I thought that was going to be the highlight, but actually being in the trenches, watching these guys, videotape pretty much every shot from the third frame on, and just being there and just the enormity of it all was, it's hard to describe. It was, that record's been standing up there for a very, very, very long time, 20 years. That's, and to think how the other records have kind of fallen over the past few years, that one had just been standing true for so long, just to, especially the way it happened with Janowitz dead nutting those last 3 shots was quite fantastic. So I think Lodge Lanes is going to get the #1 in my book, just slightly ahead of Riggs and Company.
Well, the strikes now piling on the board. John Gaines recovered nicely from a pair of opens. He's back in the 220s, unfortunate 9-pin there. I don't know, is there really a not unfortunate 9-pin? Generally, you throw it pretty well, and then get tapped there. But he'll be in the 220s. Jabinski, unfortunately, 169 after a 232 start, so he's about even here after 2 games. Scott Newell has a chance at the 2 teens here after a 182 start. Janowitz always solid and consistent. 217 game 1, possible 225 here in game 2. And yesterday's big shooter, Vernon Peterson, on the strike train again. He shot 772 yesterday. And now potential 265 here in game 2 after a 195 start. So things starting to open up, it looks like, a little bit. And as we head into game 3, we'll have Matt McNeil come on, talk to us for a few minutes, unless he's got to head downstairs for a lesson. I believe unofficially today's his day off, but of course, anytime somebody comes to town and would like some advice on the team lane condition, he is available and happy to come in. Just lives a few blocks away, so he'll be downstairs later. And of course, downstairs is the brand new 900 Global Showcase lanes, a new addition to the National Bowling Stadium. 10 lanes built downstairs in what used to be a pretty good restaurant, but now 10 lanes for the 900 Global Showcase lanes. You can get a team practice session down there for $100 for an hour. You and up to 9 of your teammates can get on those lanes and spend some time on the actual condition and the actual oil that you'll see up here at the Open Championships. You can work on strategy, ball surfaces, game plan. Just come up and get loose, throw some shots, and for an extra $100, $200 for up to 10 of you. That's $20 a guy. You can spend an hour with Mr. McNeil, the 3-time champion here at the Open Championships, and he'll tell you what he's seen and what it's going to take to succeed upstairs at the Open Championships. He'll help you with your ball surfaces and strategy, get your game plan right, get your head right. I know I need to get my head right, so I'll be headed down there soon as well. We bowl in less than a month, so I need to get ready. I need to be mentally strong as well as physically strong. I know these guys that were watching today, Lodge Lanes too, their heads have to be spinning a little bit after yesterday's excitement, but they gotta get it right to make a run here today. But for the rest of you coming into town, if you're going to chase down that number 3538, spend some time downstairs with Matt McNeil on the 900 Global Showcase lanes. If you'd like to book a session, do so well in advance, as those lanes fill up quickly. And the excitement about the opportunity to practice on the lane conditions really picking up here in 2013. You can find that on bowl.com/showcase lanes for more information.
That strike, Vernon Peterson finds his way into the 260s here in game number 2. Vernon's still clean after 5 games now, Matt.
Peterson had a solid day yesterday, as we said, 279, 247, 246, 30 clean yesterday as well. So he obviously threw a lot of strikes to shoot 772 and lead the team. And we'll see if he can keep things going here in doubles and singles. Big shot here for 265, no problem.
And That was a big ball change at the end of game number 1. Grinded out 195 clean to start doubles here, and now he's gotten lined up. So certainly set a good pace for all events yesterday with the 772. Joe Keltner of Wichita, Kansas, is the current leader with 2154. He was part of Team Tilt, the team all events leader at the time with 10,065. These guys are chasing them as well.
Just a quick rundown of yesterday's record-breaking performance while we have a chance here at the end of game number 2. 35-38, the new record. Games of 12:06, 11:67, and 11:65. And Jabinski, the leadoff guy and the veteran of the team with 40-plus years here at the Open Championships, 669. Three-time champion John Gaines, 681. Gaines, the 1998 regular singles champ, and helped Lodge Lanes, the original Lodge Lanes team from Michigan, to back-to-back team all events titles in 97 and 98. And recent PBA national champion Scott Newell, 664. Vernon Peterson, 772, as we mentioned, to set the pace. And John Janowitz, just a measly 752. How about that? Not far behind, and threw the 3 big shots in the 10th frame to secure the record by 1 pin. Previous record, 35-37. Brugger's Bagels from Albany, New York, stood since 1993 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But records were made to be broken, and now I know everybody's got their eyes on that Team All Events banner. 10,425, that is a huge number and a lot of work to do, but game 2 went pretty well for these guys. And Matt Gilman, a member of their companion team, HammerBowling.com, with 236 after a 149 start, so things seem to be going better for everybody. And other members of that HammerBowling.com team split up around us, and they moved into the top 10 yesterday. 9th place, 32.47, I believe, was the number. And they're struggling a little bit today. Sean Lee, 167, 198. Sean bowled 300 yesterday at the Storm Bowlers Journal Championships, right next door on the high side of the National Bowling Stadium, down on lane 69 through 78. And had a very emotional day there for him. And he did shoot 300, and that event contested on this doubles and singles lane condition. So while you have the opportunity to go downstairs and practice on the team pattern, if you'd like to look at the doubles and singles pattern, you can stop by the Bowlers Journal Championships. That's exactly what they did. They bowled a couple sets. Sean shooting 300 and 770, I believe, was his final total.
765 to be exact.
To be exact. Well, it's important in our business to be exact. And so a great look at the doubles and singles pattern, and not faring so well so far today, but I don't know, maybe he'll be a singles bowler this year and he'll get it done. But 167, 198, and his partner today, Hammer brand manager Jeff Ussery, 191, 177. And their 2 teammates, the other side of center aisle, Keith Nolan, 182, 168, and Mike Seeley, 195, 178. So as far as today's squad, looks like a one-team race for the Team All Events top spot. And we'll see. Game 3 now underway. John Janowitz, yesterday's, I don't want to say hero because they all contributed, but he certainly stepped up clutch in the 10th frame, and he gets an 8 count there after starting with 217, 225 today. So again, they need to average 218 a guy for today's 6 games. It doesn't really matter how you get there. You can have a slow start as long as you turn on the afterburners there a little bit later. So here we go. Peterson again leading the way, 195, 265. So I have a feeling based on last year, it got pretty exciting going into singles as well. It tends to. Of course, that's crunch time for these guys, Team All Events. Again, often comes down to the last couple shots. And it's all a marathon, so we'll see what happens as it winds down. But I have a feeling we're going to see some excitement, and we're going to be doing some number crunching in just about an hour.
Speaking of number crunching, for game number 2, the Lodge Lanes 2 gentlemen total 1080 for the second game of doubles. So had a pace of game number 1 after they finished with a 9.99, so that number keeps rising. I'm sure the excitement will start to show here at the National Bowling Stadium. The crowd will start coming around again, and it was quite a crowd yesterday, Matt. It was people knew something special was happening on the lanes, and there was a big crowd up in the grandstands here. They were bowling on, what were
35
they
and 36.
35 and 6, so you could see them from the grandstands, and yeah, there wasn't a lot of walking room over here either. It was jam-packed watching these guys make history.
Well, anytime somebody starts with 1,200 or shoots 1,200 at all, it's going to raise some eyebrows and get some attention, no doubt. And of course, now with today's technology, the world was abuzz. The Twitter world, the Facebook world. I personally was on our USBC Open Championships, Women's Championships page on Facebook, giving the updates shot by shot, basically as fast as I could calculate it. I was putting it out there because the world wants to know. And of course, if you're curious now, and your friends are curious and they want to know what's happening, direct them to X Bowling, the X Bowling Tournament Edition. You can find the app; it's free on your iPhone or Android device, or on the computer at xbowling.com/tournament. It's the Tournament Edition. You can check out live scoring from the Open Championship. So if you can't watch our whole live stream broadcast, you want to check in on your phone. Hopefully not while you're driving, but check out the live scoring app on X Bowling, and you can see exactly what we're seeing. The scores live as they unfold, and are they going to do it? We will see. So, Aaron, please remind me later when we're done. The Orlando Sentinel wants to do an exclusive.
Excellent.
Want to talk to Janowitz for starters. So we'll need to have JJ get on the phone as soon as we're done here today. As soon as we're done tallying some scores, get the word out. Big news yesterday for those of you just tuning in. A record score here at the Open Championships. 2013 is the year the team record goes down. 20 years in the making. 35-38, the highest score in 110 years of Open Championship history. And we're here to see it live. We'll have a video for you later on bowl.com. Matt Lawson hard at work back at the office, putting together all the pieces we left for him in the excitement yesterday. So stay tuned for that. And you'll get to see Janowitz's 3 final shots as they clinch their place in tournament history. And of course, earn their opportunity to be on today's live stream.
Vernon stays clean there with the ever popular 278 cover.
It's the year of the Vernon Peterson. He's doing everything right and trying to capture his first win here at the Open Championships. And he certainly found the right team to do that with. And you definitely had to do something special to capture the live stream coverage when the USBC Hall of Famer Leanne Holstenberg originally on the schedule. So I talked to her earlier today, and she was one of the first to come up and congratulate the guys yesterday. She is certainly understanding of the significance of what they accomplished, and was more than happy to turn over the coverage. I know her son Barrett at home was excited about seeing Mom on the live stream today. But she certainly understands that we had history. She's made some history herself, and she'll have her opportunities, and we'll hopefully catch her at the Women's Championships. She's just a few pairs away, started today with 188, 195, so we do appreciate her support and understanding, and of course everybody else out there who tuned in today to see her. Hopefully you're not disappointed in the show you're going to get. We are in Game 3 of doubles, watching our record holders, Lodge Lanes 2. Mitch Tabinski, Vernon Peterson, John Gaines, Scott Newell, and John Janowitz trying to make a run here in doubles, singles, team all events. So big numbers on the leaderboard. While we have the opportunity, Aaron, let's take a look at the top 10 here at the 2013 USBC Open Championships.
Not a problem, Matt. Coming into today's action. Obviously, the reason we're here right now, Lodge Lanes 2 is leading the regular team with the record-setting 35-38 they shot last night. That surpassed Breakpoint Pro Shop 2 of Sartell, Minnesota, who was leading for a while with 33-58. If you mix all those numbers around, they're all the same. So, in third place, Joliet Town and Country Lanes, featuring George Contos and company, out of Joliet, Illinois, 33-46 sitting in third. In fourth place, Town and Country Lanes, number 1, out of Heartland, Wisconsin, 33-28. Team Tilt out of Lawrence, Kansas, the 2008 regular team champions, sitting fifth with 33-26. We'll go a few more spots here just to round out the top 10. Sixth place, National Bowling Stores out of Flowery Branch, Georgia, 32-88. In seventh, Rancho Bowl 1 out of Lompoc, California, 32-85. Defending team champion Nicholas J's Pro Shop, who we saw last on the live stream, put together a valiant effort at the lead. La Crosse, Wisconsin, 32-71. Lodge Lanes 2 crossing team, hammerbowling.com, is currently in ninth with 32-47. And rounding out the top 10 in the regular team, Kingpin Lanes out of Central Square, New York, 32-46. Since we are in doubles, scores all these folks are shooting at, I'm not sure if we'll have anyone get to those numbers. John Janowitz and Vernon are probably the highest out of our group, bowling the strongest so far, but the number they're shooting for is 14:03, set by Joe Keltner and Chris Green of Wichita, Kansas. Sitting second is Russ Wilson of Lawrence, Kansas, and Jay Futrell of Derby, Kansas, the 2008 All Events champion, 13:96. Interesting fact, they were all on the same team. That, of course, is the Team All Events leader, Team Tilt, who will be getting to Team All Events in a little bit here. Sitting in third, Sean Green and Stephen Moan of Georgia, 13:65. In fourth, Scott Howe and Thomas Alt Jr. out of Oregon, 13:51. And the father-son duo of Scott and Derek Hartnell, 13:41, sitting in fifth right now. So we move on to singles, which we'll go straight into after game number 3 here. Kelly Bonta, Wichita, Kansas, rolled a 300 in his opener on his way to a 776 series. Sitting second, Greg Roberts of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 771. That's who Matt was talking about earlier. Their team also on 27-8 really took a painstakingly tough effort in doubles to try and open up the lanes, and Mr. Roberts moved in and was able to put together a great set. Third place, Robert Young of Ontario, Canada, 769. Fourth, Bill Farber out of St. Cloud, Minnesota, 755. Rounding out the top 5, Paul McCordick of Sugar Land, Texas, 748. Moving on to all events, Joe Keltner, Wichita, Kansas, who's also leading doubles currently, 21:54. Second, Brandon Berlinski out of Flint, Michigan, 21:03. Scott Howe out of Oregon City, Oregon, is third with 20:90. And in a tie for fourth, we have Richard Thomas, Middleton, Wisconsin, and Andy Mills from our defending team champions, also out of Wisconsin, 20:51. Finally, team all events, the number these guys are really looking at here. Team Tilt, Lawrence, Kansas, 10,065. Out in front by quite a bit. Second place is Town and Country Lanes 1, Heartland, Wisconsin, 97.66. Nicholas J's Pro Shop 2 out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, 96.50. Fourth is ND Storm out of Mandan, North Dakota, 95.53. And rounding out the top 5, Kingpin Lanes out of Central Square, New York, 95.21. So that's what we're looking at so far here at the 2013 Open Championships. Only about a month in so far. Certainly some respectable numbers already up there.
All right, Aaron, while you were going over the leaderboards, Unfortunately, Vernon Peterson with an open frame there. Another split in frame number 4. Unable to pick that one up, so he's going to try to refocus here and get lined up in frame 5. He's got 195, 265 to go along with 772 yesterday. We'll have a total for you guys out there watching after 3 games today, and we'll let you know exactly what they need in singles. And as it comes down to it at the end, we also have our Reno local help, Michelle Banks, here with us today. She's in the house to keep an eye on everything else going on and to learn absolutely everything she can about the Open Championships before we hit the full stride here in a couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot happening, a lot of excitement, and she'll be here with us the rest of the year to help us out. So she'll keep an eye on things the rest of the way today as we're down here behind lanes 27 and 28. And a lot of excitement in the chat room as well. Appreciate everybody joining us today for this impromptu, I guess. To
an extent.
To an extent. Of course, we were scheduled to be here anyway, and we just changed our focus a little bit to our record setters. And former teammate Chris Barnes, maybe you've heard of him. He's checking in the chat room as well, heckling his old teammates John Gaines and Mitch Dubinsky a little bit. So good to see Chris checking in.
He's not too bad.
Yeah, he's all right. He's pretty good. I know he'd really love to be out here again someday with us and with Gaines to potentially recapture some of that magic they had back in the late 1990s. Great break there for Gaines as the 4-9 goes late for a 3-bagger.
I think he knew Chris was watching on that one, so he had to trip something a little dirty there.
It's all about entertaining the fans as well, no doubt. Speaking of entertainment, Mr. Smith, let's take a look at our upcoming live stream schedule.
Subject to change, possibly.
Subject to change, as we learned today. We were scheduled to see USBC Hall of Famer Leanne Holstenberg, who's a few lanes away. We've got our eye on her, 188, 195, but we appreciate everybody's understanding, of course, with the big excitement yesterday. Record setters now on today's live stream. In a couple of days, April 6th, we'll be right back here at the National Bowling Stadium to see Henry Tietz III put his regular singles title on the line. Try to become the first player with back-to-back singles championships here at the Open Championships. So that is 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Henry Tietz III trying to make it 2 in a row in singles. Then on April 13th, Team USA Shannon O'Keefe and her husband Brian O'Keefe, Team USA assistant coach. And that comes one day after we head across town for the kickoff of the 2013 USBC Women's Championships being held in the same host city as the Open Championships for the very first time in history. They'll be over at the Reno Sparks Convention Center, putting the finishing touches on 44 lanes over there right now, as those ladies are expected to be in town April 12th through July 1st. So a lot of bowling excitement here in Reno coming right up. But on the 13th, again, Team USA Shannon and Brian O'Keefe, followed by April 20th, Rick Steelsmith, John Zerbinski, and Jesse Buss. Pretty solid team there. Some Wichita guys. Zerbinski, the 2013 USBC Team USA Trials champion. So he'll try to capture his first eagle here at the Open Championships. He has some success and some big scores, some close calls. We'll see if those guys can get it done. Steelsmith, of course, headed to the USBC Hall of Fame in just a couple of months as well. So Aaron Smith bowls that day. He won't be on the broadcast, but perhaps he'll give us a reason to turn the camera as he's out there on the lanes. He's laughing, but you never know. As we saw just the other day, average Joe Smith, 181 for 10 years here at the Open Championships. Started singles with 17 consecutive strikes, including the fourth 300 of the year. So, Aaron, you never know. I've seen you throw 12 strikes in a day. All you have to do is put them in a row, and you'll get your name in the record books as well.
It's just that simple?
It is just that simple. You just got to pick your spots.
If one Smith can do it, any of them can, right?
That's right. It's the year of the Smith at the Open Championships. It's also the year of the Vern. Vernon Peterson bowling exceptionally well. Not on that shot, as he gives it a run, the 4-7-10. But Vernon Peterson big effort yesterday, 772, helping his team to the all-time record. And we had a Vern earlier in the year, almost made history as well. How was it, Heidenreiter?
Vern Heidenreiter out of Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. Something in the water up there in Wisconsin, it seems like. But yeah, Vern during his team event on lanes 21 and 2, I believe, finished game number 1 with 4 strikes for a 215. Continued striking in game number 2 for a 300. And just to keep pace with things, he started game number 3 with the front 9 strikes, being just one more to become the first individual to roll an 800 here at the 2013 event. 4-pin stood in the way of his record run there, but 794 Vern ended up shooting that day, and Vern had already had a 300 here at the Open back in 2003 in Knoxville, so if he would have won back-to-back, he would have been the first competitor ever in 110 years to record 3 300s on the tournament lanes.
Well, we're talking about a couple of pins standing in the way, of course, as we learned yesterday. It's 1 pin. That's all it takes. And the goal to get every pin you can. Chris Barnes still in the chat room, giving us a little bit of history. I know those guys came very, very close, a few pins, if not less, away from a 3rd consecutive Team All Events title in 1999. I know Gaines and Barnes, I believe, are 1-2 in all events. Gaines took the singles title, and according to Chris, a uncooperative 2-pin or some poor spare shooting kept them from the doubles title as well. So they could have absolutely dominated 1998. But a couple titles there, certainly something they'll always share. And someday Chris will be back here with Mr. Gaines. So always cool to hear about the history of the event and how things went down over the years. And especially since we've only been here a few years to be a part of it, no doubt we'll always remember yesterday and tell that story for many years to come, along with all the other stories of the tournament, these records, and just the everyday stories, of course. We'll never forget Joe Smith from California and his lifetime performance, I guess, here at the Open Championships this year. Who knows? Maybe he'll top it next year. But for now, the performance of a lifetime, and we were there to share it with him as well. So very cool to do what we do.
Could not agree more. Janowitz gets back on the right track there with a strike after a split in frame number 6. Getting close to wrapping up doubles competition here. On the 11 a.m. out here in Reno time, at least.
There's Gaines up on the left lane, trying to get back on track. Great shot there. Not sure what delayed him this morning, but he was still putting on his bowling shoes when they got out to the lanes after the march. And started slow with a 173 game, but back on track, 222. Possible 249 here in the finale. So I don't want to say the old bone's getting loose there, but the pin's starting to fall here in game 3 of doubles. So we'll see. We'll have those totals for you as they happen, and we'll get you the rundown as we head into the end of singles as well. So 10,065, the number they're shooting for right now. For those of you just checking in, once again, Matt Canizaro, Aaron Smith, and Michelle Banks checking in from the National Bowling Stadium. The 2013 USBC Open Championships just got our official number of teams for the year, 10,253. We'll be coming out here to chase down the number, the all-time highest score ever recorded. There's all kinds of redundancies there, but wow, 35-38, highest score ever. Now on top of the team event. So 10,253 teams headed this way to take a run at that number We kicked off on March 1st. We'll be here until July 7th. So still a long, long way to go. A lot of great teams scheduled to come in, and we'll capture a whole bunch of them on our live stream. So check out that schedule. You can find it on bowl.com. Go to the right side of your screen, or you can go to bowl.com/livestream and find out all about it. And here's the boss man, Brian Lewis, managing director of tournaments. Checking in. He's in town with the women's championships, doing some orientation for the employees over there. They're getting ready to kick off, as we said, April 12th. So if you're a bowler, Reno is the place to be here in 2013, no doubt. And for those curious out there, we also will be showing some women's championships action here on Bowl TV. And we'll have a handful of events scheduled. We'll head over to the Reno Sparks Convention Center and set up our gear and showcase the premier women's bowling event in the world. So be sure to check that out. You can find that on the schedule as well.
Catches a nice break there, getting the 4-pin out, leaving only the 9 here in the 9th frame.
So Aaron, according to Chris Barnes, they were 1-2 in all events. Their teammate Bob Gorky was 5th, and they came within 4 pins of the team all events record. Of course, 10,425, the number on top. That's the banner hanging from the rafters here at the NBS. They finished that year with 10,421. So it got very, very close.
It's pretty amazing. You rattle off that team earlier in our telecast, and just a who's who in the bowling world there. So that's, to see something like that again would certainly be spectacular.
Chris did clarify the final 2 members of that team. Looks like Pat Healy, of course, we mentioned him earlier. Then Tommy Jones came on, and Bill Rowe later on to replace Healy and Barnes when they went out on tour. And of course, Tommy Jones winning all events, young in his career.
$19.99, 1 year after Chris.
Yep. So they came up again just short of a 3rd consecutive team all events title. So a solid group, and Gaines, it took him a while, but he put together a very solid team here, very solid group of 10. And that's what it's about. We talked about that in our story yesterday. You can read the details of yesterday's record performance on bowl.com. And it really is about the team and the team event, team all events, and putting together not just 10 of the best bowlers around, but 10 great friends.
And 10 folks who know how to work together.
Certainly all about teamwork and communication. This group handpicked by John Gaines himself. He had a good run last year in Baton Rouge, even better here in 2013. Obviously the highest score ever, but still a lot of work to do. And that was the last message I got from Gaines last night. I was trying to track them down and see what they were doing to celebrate. He made it very clear, only 1/3 of the job is done. It's a 9-game event, so they all went to bed, got some rest early, and they know they have a lot of work to do today. Certainly, especially after a rough start here in doubles. It certainly looks like they're getting to the pocket a lot better, a lot easier. The 7 counts, 6 counts are now ring 10s, certainly good shots. So I think they're getting their groove now, and we'll see as we head into singles. So if the 10 pin will cooperate, we could see some big numbers here in singles. So stay tuned. A little bit of drama there. There's the 5-pin stands for 217 for Mr. Gaines. 6-12. Respectable set here after a slow start. 173, 222, 217.
I'm just happy to see other people leave it too, Matt. I thought it was just me.
Those of you who tuned in to watch USBC Hall of Famer Leanne Hulsenberg, she's a few pairs away, 188, 195, possible 206 here in game 3 of doubles. We never did find out how our front 7 turned out earlier, but I didn't hear any cheering. So we'll assume that that run ended as well.
6:02 for Mitch Chabinski.
Aaron, I say we had a bit of an exciting week here as Newell 8 out in the 10th. Certainly, as we learned yesterday, every single pin very crucial. Anytime, but especially yesterday. So 8 out for 214 and 595. So he'll need to regroup and get ready for singles now. As we watch Janowitz step up on the left lane. There's Matt Gilman. At one point in time, he was in the Guinness Book of World Records as the youngest bowler to bowl a 300 game. I believe he was 12. That was obviously a long time ago. That record now since been broken many times over. But yeah, Matt Gilman grew up bowling right down the street from me in South Florida, and he's just seems to have gotten better and better. And here he is now on the right lane as Janowitz up on the left.
Great shot by Janowitz there. Yeah, they are certainly going to have to make a run here in singles. It's, as we said, they need to average approximately 218 a guy to get to the team all events number, and they're going to be a little bit short of that pace here through doubles.
Chabinski finishes with 6:02. Janowitz stepping up with a possible 235. Pretty good set here in doubles. 217, 225, possible 235.
670s out there for Double J. Matt Gilman throws a 10-pin across the deck there to finish his doubles effort with a 191 and 576.
234 and 676 for Janowitz. And Peterson, big shot there for a double. Possible 191 after the 265. Jabinski and Gaines, 12-14. Janowitz and Peterson already 12-67 with 2 shots left.
We've seen a handful of those here in doubles. Quite a few 9-pins so far today, Matt.
Some folks in the chat room talking about the lane conditions and what they're seeing here today. Let's give McNeil the third microphone here and the headset, and we'll talk to him for a few minutes while we have the opportunity. Kind of get his take on what's happening out there. All right, Matt, welcome back to the booth, and we're just talking lane conditions right now. Aaron's going to do some calculations and get some numbers for us as we head into singles. A lot of excitement yesterday and a lot of pressure, I would think, today as these guys come on out. So tell us what you're seeing, just observing doubles today.
Well, thanks, Matt, for having me again. Wow. I was talking with Frankie May from the booth, and our eyes kind of just got really big when we came out here. We thought we would see all these guys playing straighter earlier, and then as they build push left, they would start to move into it and play it. But everybody started left, and just judging by scores and ball reactions, those first 3 games didn't look all that fun. It looks like they're finally getting deep enough where they've got a little hold in front of the pocket, but as you and Aaron both have been seeing, not a lot of shots have been holding out there, and that's really because you need to play straighter to start and build push versus going around the lane early, and then it takes a lot longer to develop any form of push in front of the pocket. So we'll see what happens in singles. I think they're definitely getting nicer. They're not getting worse, but we're seeing 3-bagger split, 4-bagger split, double split, and that's because when you don't build forgiveness into the pattern, the minute you make even a 90% or an 80% shot, you're getting penalized here on the doubles and singles pattern. So, but it looks like the lanes are getting nicer. I expect this to be a very exciting 3 games.
Well, I can tell you, I've seen these guys bowl enough over the years to know that if anybody's good at getting left and booming on it, it certainly is them. Of course, Janowitz, he's not a big guy by any means, tall, but he certainly can get left with the best of them and slow hook it. Scott Newell, he's used to being out on tour, where he said, he actually told me yesterday they hook a lot out there. He can get left and just wheel the whole entire lane. Of course, Gaines, a big guy with a lot of paw, as they say, and they were super deep last year as they made their run in singles. It almost seems like they're more comfortable there. They didn't get too far left yesterday, probably barely left of 12-15 in the team event. But now, as we saw again, as I said last year, they got way left, and they can do it comfortably and confidently, and we're going to see that right now. They're starting to make the moves. Jabinski, a little bit older. He's going to be a little bit straighter, of course, but the rest of them certainly can make the move left and bend it with the best of them. So I think we're going to see some big scores here in singles, and they're going to need them. As Aaron is feverishly working on his calculator there to get us an unofficial number through doubles. And certainly the pins need to cooperate a little bit, but we saw as doubles progressed, the bad shots turned into turned into ring 10s as the lanes opened up a little bit. They got a little bit comfortable, and now it's just a matter of some cooperation as Jaminski, you saw there, trips the 4-pin for a double. And now Gaines looking for a double. Newell also strikes in the first frame. Janowitz. So it's a new ball game here, and they're very good at putting what already happened behind them and focusing on the task at hand.
See right there, that's what I'm talking about. You know, I think John really thought that was a good shot, but they just really haven't. There's not much in the middle of the lane. It's 39 feet. It's flat. You can't expect to get into the middle of the lane and have free hold. And shots like that, I mean, you know, 5-3, that's a triple now just to get back on 200 pace. So we'll see what happens here. But the bad shots are still. Oh, wow, almost picked that up. The bad shots are still, I think we're still going to see 9 spare or an open. Whereas last night, we were seeing errant shots come back and strike. The two big keys are going to be Mitch and Vernon, the guys who spin it up. It's harder for those guys to create the forward roll necessary to open up the lane as much as the other guys who can roll it a little more. So as those guys get further left, it's going to be tougher for them to create proper entry angle into the pocket. And that's why Vernon struggled last game and Mitch struggled. So if they can keep the ball in play, make some good shots, then that team all events will still have a little light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, they had a huge head start. You were there yesterday. You had the camera on hand as well. 35-38, the highest score in 110 years of history. That's why we're watching them today. It's Lodge Lanes 2 from Orlando. Current team leaders, obviously, at the 2013 USBC Open Championships. We're at the National Bowling Stadium. Matt Canizaro, Matt McNeil, and Aaron Smith working on the calculator. Matt, you've been a part of history at this event. You're a bit of a historian as well. So no doubt, having grown up in Minnesota around some of the Loons and the Lakers, and so you understand what this event's about. You know, no doubt you were part of the celebration in 2002 and 2006 when the Linz Lakers celebrated their team all events titles. And now you've worked your way onto that team, grabbed 3 Eagles for yourself. But as a spectator yesterday, can you put into perspective what we saw?
I got teary-eyed. I mean, this is, you know, I think a lot of people don't really understand the significance of how many thousands of teams come through the door every year over 20 years and have not been able to beat that score. This group of 5 guys came through the doors yesterday and did something that a group of 5 other guys might not do again for another 20 years. And I got teary-eyed just appreciating the moment, because you never know when you're going to see something like that ever again. It might not never happen. Odds are it probably will, but you never know. So you just have to appreciate good bowlers bowling amazing, doing something amazing on the biggest stage for amateurs to bowl on in the world. And so for me, it was awesome. I got to be right there in the booth, and it was very special, something I'll always have with me, and I'll tell my kids about it. You know, I was there that day when the Lodge Lanes 2 shot 35-38. You know, I think that it's really cool.
Well, now 3 years ago, I mean, you were that guy. You know, we were there, we were crowded around. You know, you had a solid starting team, so we had our eye on you anyway. Shot 780, and then a big double set, and then it kind of became a reality. I can imagine that at some point, especially, you know, early in your career now, still, you know, the possibility of all events had to creep in your head at some point. I know as you were shooting at 800 and potentially, you know, all events, I don't believe you had any idea that you were approaching the record either. We talked about Janowitz earlier, needing all 3 in the 10th to secure the record by a single pin. he had no idea. He went up there because that's what he does. He throws the best shot he can every single time he steps up on the approach, whether it was for the lead, the record, or 2,700. He was going to throw the 3 best shots he could and try to knock down every single pin. And, you know, afterwards, you can see in the video, Gaines kind of whispering in his ear, just letting him know what he just did, you know, and what they accomplished. And then, you know, in 2010, we came down there, we videotaped your last few shots, and you know, you knew, I think, at that point that that you had taken the all events lead. But I think there's a moment where, you know, they tell you, they break the news, however you want to say it, you know, and then your legs kind of give out, and you see that in the video. But talk about that moment. I mean, you're focused on so many things at that point. 299 for 800, the whole deal, everything that's happening there. You know, you're making a run at it, and then you find out you just shot the highest score ever. How's that feel?
It takes a while to sink in. It honestly does. It hits you, and you just kind of go numb, and it's such a state of disbelief that you just did what nobody else has ever been able to do, and and then you think about the banner and all the eagle and the accolades, and you know, all that is extremely overwhelming, and you just kind of go numb. I remember my legs kind of gave out, and I just fell into my teammates, and you know, watching it in the videos, it's, you know, one of the best moments of my life. It was awesome. But to feel that, I mean, that's what you bowl for. You bowl for moments like that. You know, you don't bowl for money. You don't bowl for titles. You bowl because you appreciate the moments. You know, it's like that one last good golf shot that makes you come back and play another 18, even though you shot 108. You know, that's what it's like. But you had that one amazing shot that felt so good. And that's what it is with bowling. That's why I keep playing every single year, is because you get those moments, and that's, in the end, what really makes it for me. Just like in 2011, even though I didn't get it done, I had the opportunity. I got to live in that moment, and I really appreciate just having the opportunity to do that.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the pressure.
Sure.
You know, these guys, obviously the record yesterday, and you've been there where, you know, after, you know, big double sets in 2011 and 2012, the possibility of an all-events title and a record, again, still out there. And then we know that in 2011 singles, it didn't end as smoothly as it could have, and you came up short, finished third, but used that as a learning experience heading into 2012. And then again, started singles with 157, and still you're able to regain your composure and get enough sticks the next 2 games to shoot 2,200 and grab another all-events title. But at this point, you know, these guys had an okay doubles event, and now they're in singles. They got to be squeezing a little bit because they know they had to know what they were coming into, what the numbers were. They know they needed big sets, but now it's press time. But you have to stay focused and not press too hard. You know, potentially, what are they thinking right now?
Well, I honestly think right now that they're thinking more about just how to find a good ball reaction than the scores. Because right now, the focus has shifted from, okay, we just need to shoot well today and we're going to be fine, to now, well, if we don't find a good ball reaction, we're going to shoot nothing at all. And I think all the focus right now is really directed towards finding a ball reaction out there versus, well, I got to shoot 240 this game. Because these guys are smart enough, they're veterans, they're great players of the game, and they know if they don't find a good ball reaction, 240 is not even a possibility out there. So I would imagine that's what's going through their head more than anything, is how can we figure out a scoring solution on the lanes? It's not thinking about, I need 240 this game.
Well, I mean, obviously they know they need big numbers. They know how to do it. It seems to be, at this point, striker split, really. But let's turn to Aaron Smith with the numbers. He's got everybody's team scores, double scores. He's got totals, all events totals, you name it. Aaron Smith, what do you got for us?
All right, well, after doubles and another set there, they went 31-25, so they added another 125 to the total, putting them at a 30-game total of 6,663. So they're going to have to do a whole lot of striking. As you said, those 240s are going to have to add up quick. As a team here in singles, to get to the number for the current leader, Team Tilt, 34.03.
Wow.
Which is more or less 227 a guy. And still out there to get to the all-time record. Don't think we're going to see this, but you never know. 37.62.
Well, as Chris Barnes said in the chat room earlier, I believe they shot 3,700 in singles back then in 1998. So you never do know. It's certainly going to take a monster. And you say 227 a guy, it doesn't sound that out of the realm of possibility. I mean, 227 certainly a doable number. But when you say 3,400, though, that sounds so much more intimidating. You don't see a lot of those. Obviously, 5 guys have to come together at the right time, but just a handful in history in the team event. Of course, things a little bit different in doubles and singles previously, but now everything on fresh oil. All 6 games on the same pair. 227, not intimidating. 3,400 sounds like a lot.
And that's what I was going to say. That was the big set in doubles for Team Tilt. Our current team leaders seem to be so far at least here in the early going, the only group to really figure out the doubles pattern as a collective 5. Granted, they didn't all bowl at the same time, but yeah, it just seems like everyone's getting out of the gates slow here in doubles, and now they find themselves having to catch up here in singles.
Well, JJ has got to be the leader here. He's got the best look of anybody, and he's going to have to lead the scoring pace. But you come back, you see him shaking his head. He's like, man, I threw it pretty good, but it's burning up. If I get a little left to try to get it to push more, it goes face. If I get a little right, it won't finish at all. I 2-8-10. It really X'd up the lanes, and that's made it quite difficult for scoring. And that's why we're seeing so many splits up there. It's really either feast or famine. There's no in between.
And speaking of JJ, he needs 727 to get to the current regular all events number of 2154 by Joe Keltner. Vernon Peterson, who had the big set yesterday, 743. So that's still within realm here, but once again, a whole lot of striking has to go on for these gentlemen here.
Well, how about a quick rundown of what each of the 5 guys had in team and then doubles?
Not a problem, Matt. Mitch Jabinski, 669 in team, followed with 602 in doubles. John Gaines, 681 and 612. Scott Newell, 664 last night, 595 today. Vernon Peterson leading the way yesterday with 772, followed it up with 640. And John Janowitz, 752, including those 3 magnificent shots in the 10th frame last night to seal the deal, and 676 in doubles. So that is the current rundown for Lodge Lanes 2.
Well, here's just offhand, guys. Here's what I'm thinking. Thinking team event, the guys who can have a little more hand but keep the angles a little tighter are going to do extremely well. If you try to do the same thing when you come back, you will struggle. We've seen that with everybody who's had a very high team event. JJ is really the only guy proving me wrong, because he had 750 last night, and he could easily hang another 750 this single set. But, you know, the Vern guy who had 790, he came back and struggled immensely. I watched him. He tried to play in again, which you cannot do. We've seen a lot of guys, good success on the team pattern. They come back, try to play it the same way as double singles. No good. Frown face.
Well,
play them straight.
A new dynamic here at the Open Championship. So a lot of changes here in 2013. 2 different patterns for the first time in history. One for team, one for double singles. You have every opportunity to practice on those 2 patterns. You can see the team pattern downstairs on the 900 Global Showcase lanes. You can see the doubles and singles pattern right next door on the high end of the National Bowling Stadium at the Storm Bowlers Journal Championship. So certainly the chance to get loose and get ready on those patterns. And of course the other big change this year, 6 guys or 6 people on a pair for doubles and singles, and you don't flip. So you get fresh oil for every squad. You get out there with 5 of your teammates, and you go to it. 6 games on 1 pair of lanes, and you determine your own destiny, as these guys are doing here today. We're watching Lodge Lanes 2.
We have some red X's up there now, a few pairs away, actually where we were planning on being originally.
How about Gary?
Gary Hulsenberg with the front 7 to start off singles here.
That is Leanne Hulsenberg's husband. And Gary bowled a 298 with us in the team event back in 2006. So he certainly knows what he's doing. Front 7 scoreboard has turned red, so all eyes now on them, and our eyes as well. So if you'd like to check that out, live on the X Bowling Tournament Edition app on your iPhone or on the computer, xbowling.com/tournament. You can find live scoring for the Open Championships. You can tune in. They are on lane 23. Gary Hulsenberg, front 7. We'll keep you posted.
I think JJ is throwing a Columbia Vow. And that ball's looking pretty sweet.
I do remember seeing one down there earlier, just glancing. Wasn't sure if it was JJ throwing that or not, but certainly take a closer look here.
Yeah. Oh, somebody got the pick up the pace of play message.
We don't mess around here at the Open
No,
Championships.
sir.
We need to stay on schedule. The brand new schedule this year. Doubles and singles squads at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., and 10:30 p.m. Only 3 compared to 5 in the past. Obviously more people on the lanes, less squads are needed. And the team events back-to-back at 3 and 7 p.m. And we are very on schedule. This squad actually marched at 10:45 today, bowling for score at 11 a.m. So remember that if you're coming to the Open Championships this year, the squad time you're given, that is your bowling for score time. Keep you on pace while you're out there bowling. Of course, if you throw as many strikes as these guys did yesterday, you're going to get done pretty quickly, and they certainly did. But they're going to need to find that magic from yesterday and start putting some strikes up on the scoreboard right now if they're going to leave as the leaders in team all events as well. See Scott Newell there with 3 9 spares in a row. Scott yesterday was the low guy with 664. Still a great effort. I'll take 660 any day. But he did open in the 10th frame the first 2 games, and I know he was beating himself up a little bit about that after the fact. Kind of difficult to celebrate in a big moment when you feel like you let the guys down. But no doubt, John Gaines, the captain of this group, talking to him right now, actually, trying to make sure that he's focused and realizes that he was a part of history, and it still is. Every shot important. Go out there, throw the best shot you can, and leave it behind. Whatever happens previously, leave it behind. It's like JJ left behind that 10-pin he left on that lane last time, and now he's on 279 pace here.
Boy, is he throwing it good, and really watch at the bottom of his swing. He's given it the gusto. I mean, I think he's just about maxed out as far as what he can do to a bowling ball consistently. But here's a guy who loves to play straighter, and he's wheeling and dealing out there, and that's very impressive. Just shows you how great of an amateur he is. In my mind, probably one of the best ever as far as amateur bowlers will ever be considered. Definitely a nice enough guy. So
this event all about versatility, especially now with 2 different lane conditions. Not drastically different, where you need to bring 16 different bowling balls to try to combat the 2 different patterns, but certainly different enough where you need to use your head a little bit and move around, especially as the day progresses. 6 games on 1 pair. You're going to have to make some moves, change some balls, and JJ, as you said, a very smart guy and very versatile. He could play straight, he could hook it, he does what needs to be done, and he does it very well. He's doing it right now, trying to lead his team into the top spot in team all events and potentially grab himself another all events title at the same time.
And Gary Halsenberg had the 8th, so he's good through 8. JJ up in the 9th, or 8th, sorry. Double working.
Yeah, he's
Boy.
really,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
he's really pacing this group here. What do you see that he's doing out there that these other guys just haven't been able to create out there?
Well, with his tilt and roll, he's creating a hook stop motion. And he's got a spot down lane about, it looks like 8-9, that he knows if he gets it there, it's going to hook. Boom, right there, 8-9. And he knows when he gets it there, the ball's going to start to change direction. It's just a matter of getting there at the right speed, the right release. Every time he does that, he gets a very desirable result. The shots where he hasn't carried, those are the shots where the ball is wavered outside of that little window down lane. But with his roll and with his tilt, he's creating a hook stop motion, which is helping him control the back ends. Because 39 feet, you got an extra 21 feet of free hook. So you really want to control the back ends as much as you can by getting the ball to slow down earlier.
There's a 4-bagger for Jabinski after a pair of splits in the middle of the game, so things looking up for him here in game 1 of singles. Janowitz right on pace with 2004. He had a mediocre 858 single series that year. It was a record at the time. 279, 279, 300. I don't remember the order exactly, but right on pace for that right now. And our current singles leader, 776. So Janowitz is going to need every bit of that. So we'll see if he can keep up the pace. Even that 9 spare that he has in the 5th frame, a very good shotter, a 10-pin. But he's been here before. He again, he came up huge yesterday with 3 big shots to solidify the team record. And he's thrown the big shots in this building in 2004. 858 in singles, 22-24 for all events. Grabbed 2 eagles that year. And, pretty solid career here at the Open Championships as well. And they're talking ball choices right now. Him and Gaines are going over some possibilities right now, trying to get everybody lined up for a run here.
One of the my very first tournament was in 2004, and JJ had already had the 858 and everything. And one of the vivid memories I have of that trip was walking through the pro shop here at the stadium, and in the Ebonite booth, I believe it was the V2 Clean.
Indeed.
And they had a brand new V2 Clean just sitting right up there. This is the ball John Janowitz used. And that was one of the things I'll always remember about that very first Open Championships experience, because I'd rather not remember my scores. So.
Well, now you had the opportunity 9 years later to schmooze a little bit with the 2-time champ and take some pictures, do some interviews, just sit down and get some insight from these guys yesterday. A wealth of knowledge, all of them. And I'm telling you, if you get the opportunity to see them outside of a bowling center, just to sit down and just talk history and bowling and what they've accomplished in their day, certainly do that. But not right now. They're busy. They're working hard out there. They once again, the highest team score in history, 35-38 yesterday. They already had the team lead, and they need some big numbers here. Once again, Aaron Smith, what's it going to take to find the top of the leaderboard in singles all events or team all events?
All right, once again, we'll look at leading scorers here. Off in my own little world.
Big shot for JJ here.
That is nice. And a regular team, once again, why we're here. Lodge Lanes 2 out of Orlando. 35-38, a record-setting performance. Surpassed Breakpoint Pro Shop 2 of Sartell, Minnesota, featuring Jeff Smith and Barry Zimmerman, 33-58. Town and Country Lanes, Joliet, Illinois, 33-46. Town and Country Lanes 1 out of Heartland, Wisconsin, 33-28. And Team Tilt out the top 5 in team with 33-26. Doubles, which we finished up. I think these scores, from at least what we could see, are going to hold up. I'm not sure what was happening on the other side of the house, but Chris Green and Joe Keltner out of Wichita, 14-03. Russ Wilson and Jay Futrell out of Kansas, 13-96. All of them on the same team. Sean Green and Stephen Moan out of Georgia, 13-65. Scott Howe, Thomas Alt out of Oregon, 13-51. Then the father-son duo of Scott and Derek Hartnell, 13-41, round out the top 5. Currently in singles, which we are partaking in. Kelly Bonta, Wichita, Kansas, 7-76. Gregor Roberts, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 7-71. Robert Young from up north, Ontario, Canada, 769. Fourth, Bill, sorry, Bill, I may mess this up. Faber, I believe, St. Cloud, Minnesota, 755. And Paul McCordick, Sugar Land, Texas, 748. All events, which John Janowitz is probably going to have his name up here pretty soon. Somewhere in the top 10 at least. Joe Keltner currently leading, Wichita, Kansas, 21-54. Brandon Brelinski, Flint, Michigan, 21-03. Scott Howe, Oregon City, Oregon, 2090. Rich Thomas and Andy Mills, both out of Wisconsin, are tied for 4th, 2051. And finally, team all events. This group's also looking to see their name up there at the top, chasing Team Tilt out of Lawrence, Kansas, 10,065. Town and Country Lanes 1 out of Heartland, Wisconsin, 2nd, 97-66. Nicholas J's Pro Shop 2, defending regular team champions out of Cross, Wisconsin, 96-50. ND Storm out of Mandan, North Dakota is 4th with 95-53. And Kingpin Lanes, Central Square, New York, 95-21. So that's a quick recap of the standings here at the 2013 USBC Open Championships.
All right, just to fill everybody in on Gary Hulsenberg, a couple pairs away. Finishes with 279. He did not get the 9th strike. 279 start to singles is pretty solid on that pair as well. Jimmy Gibson, 246. Leanne Hulsenberg, possible 227. So we'll keep an eye on them. Right now, all eyes on Lodge Lanes 2. Trying to chase down that team all events number. Aaron, what did they need to get to the top spot?
To get to the lead, 34.03 for singles combined of all 5 guys, approximately 227 average. So,
all right. Well, John Janowitz leading the way at this point. He's, I believe, just 720-ish to make his run at the all events lead. And Vernon Peterson, yesterday's big shooter, 772, needs a little more than 740 to get to the top spot individually. But I can guarantee you 100%, neither one of those gentlemen is thinking about individual anything at this point. Right now, it's all about the team and the team all events. Singles is great. Matt McNeil, you know that individual success is special, of course, but to share that with your teammates, indescribable.
The team is the one you want out of here. Anybody who comes out here and bowls will tell you that the team is the special one, not the discount doubles or singles or all events, of course, but to say you were on a group of 5 guys who got the synergy going to do team event or team all events, that's really, really something special, because it's that much harder. You can't just do well yourself. It's all 5 guys. So that's the special one. That's definitely the one I want out of anything.
Well, I've had the pleasure of being a part of some amazing team all events runs here at the Open Championships. A lot of emotion out there as you get down to Game 9, and you're doing the number crunching, and you know it's close, and maybe you don't know the exact numbers, of course, but every strike, every pin just adds to the excitement. And often we've captured that on Bowl TV. You can find some of those back in the archives. One that comes to mind a little bit is Northern Lanes Pro Shop. Bo Gergen, obviously an amazing year in 2009, shooting the highest 3-game set in tournament history, 862, to take home the regular singles title, and then coming back the very next year and leading his team to the team all events title. I know that meant more to him than anything, to be able to share that feeling with his teammates. And Dan McClelland has since moved on to the PBA Tour, not able to come back. But just talking to Bo after that and what it meant, as special as it was to get it done, with his team the year later, and hopefully we'll see some fireworks here at the end of singles as game number 1 wrapping up. Jabinski 224, John Gaines 191. Scott Newell 182. So again, they need to average 227 a guy. But Janowitz making up for some of those pins right now. Stepping up here, working at 279. Certainly would help the case. Second shot in the 10th, and just smooth off his hand, and he knew it. So he'll be in the 270s as well.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, look how deep he is. He's set down at about, 38. You're going to run out of real estate. So we'll see if we start seeing a little lift and loft from JJ here as we get into it. But if I was on top of the all events leaderboard, I'd be getting out my voodoo set and the Hudakai, because you're going to need a lot to stop this guy. He's throwing it very, very good right now.
That was something both Matts talked about earlier, the versatility of Mr. Janowitz. You can certainly see that here, getting extremely far left on the pattern.
And it's really going to come down for all events to JJ. Gaines and Newell got to find something. I think Gaines switched to a Black Widow Pearl or a Vow. It was red and black and shiny. Let's see if I can get a look at it here.
For those of you curious about yesterday's team event, the record-setting performance, Matt Lawson back at USBC headquarters is hard at work today on piecing together all of the tidbits and segments and shots that we put together on video. So we'll have something for you later today, so you can take a look at that performance, and of course that will also show the versatility of Janowitz and all these guys, as we mentioned, and where they were playing yesterday in the team event on the team pattern compared to today in doubles and singles, and especially as we get into already game number 5 on this pair of lanes. So 6 on a pair, and the lanes constantly changing. A lot of discussion happening, not only between the 6 guys on this pair, but their companion team, Jeff Ussery right next door, Sean Lee, and so we'll see what happens here as it comes down to it. I know these guys, they thrive on the pressure and the need for the big shots. And Scott Newell, big shot there, leaves the 9-pin. But this is what it's all about: the pressure, the big stage, the cameras, the lights, getting it done.
Well, and we'll see what happens here with the lane play. They're already extremely deep, so we'll see what happens. These guys, I definitely feel it's not going to come down to a lack of good shot making. It's just going to be whether they can find the right ball reaction solution to get the ball to get through the fronts and transition properly enough to go through the pins and get 10 down. That's really what it's going to be. And see, Vernon, he's gone through about 3 ball switches in the last two and a half games. He's really struggling. Ideally, he needs to get a little further left, too, onto that laydown point that JJ and Gaines and Newell are on. but he spins it so much, I don't think he can get the ball to read up. So he might be stuck. We'll see what happens.
All right, Aaron's again feverishly doing some calculations there, so we can be up to the minute on what they've got and what it's going to take. Janowitz, a 279 start. Back up on the left lane, trying to work some magic for Lodge Lanes 2.
Well, Matt, their first game of singles totaled 1,081. So that puts them after 7 total team games, if you want to put it that way. 7,744, meaning they'll need 23-22 to take over team all events. So they kind of upped what they had to do coming into singles. 232 a guy coming in to the final 2 games.
All right, well, thanks for the calculations. We'll be here the rest of the way with you. We also have our eye on Gary Holstenberg, a couple pairs over, started singles with 279. And if you missed any of today's broadcasts, once again, this is Matt Cannizzaro, Matt McNeil, and Aaron Smith live from the National Bowling Stadium, the 2013 USBC Open Championships. You can find the archive broadcast later today on Bowl TV. You go to youtube.com/Bowl TV and find that and much more. All of our previous broadcasts and all kinds of other exciting USBC videos and live streams there for your enjoyment. Check that out anytime. And if you'd like a recap of yesterday's amazing team event, you can find that on bowl.com. See the story, pictures, scores, leaderboards, side event information, you name it. All kinds of good stuff happening in Reno this year. You can find all of that on bowl.com. You just go to the Open Championships page or the Women's Championship page if you're interested in more information about that event about to kick off here in Reno on April 12th.
Sorry, go ahead, Matt. Can I give a shameless plug for the Matty McHonor Scores show?
Absolutely.
All right. To all you fans out there, if you're looking for the nitty-gritty, unedited, and raw version of what I'm seeing out here every week, I'll be bringing you scoring highlights and tournament thoughts on the Sports for Schmucks radio show. Sunday nights, 8:30 Central Time. So if you're on the East or West Coast, do your time differences. But you can tune in on the live stream. Just Google that, and they have a live stream link there. You can check it out on the radio waves. You know, my mom always said I had a great face for radio, so I feel like I'm really accomplishing something now. Of course, the show named after the term coined by Matt Cannizzaro in 2011. I just want to make sure you get some credit for that, Matty. I know nobody ever gives you credit for it, but I just want to make sure you get a little bone here.
Well, I do appreciate that. You know, our fame behind the cameras, of course. You know, we do our best to tell the world what happens here at the Open Championships and at all bowling events, and it's been a pleasure to broadcast some exciting moments on the live stream. Of course, we've seen 2 Matt McNeil 300 games and 800 series, and I'm sure more to come. We're hoping for some excitement here today as we're watching Lodge Lanes 2 try to find their way to the top of the team all event standings. John Janowitz making a very good charge at all events as well.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. But gents, I do have a lesson that I got to go prepare for down at the showcase lane. So the work is calling, but I found a good replacement. Mr. Eric Pearson is going to fill my shoes. I know he's got a big job ahead of him, but I hope he's up for it.
Sure, he'll be able to handle it.
Thank you for having me, guys, and stay tuned here because I think it's going to get exciting, especially with JJ.
All right,
it's a pleasure, Matt.
That is 3-time champion Matt McNeil headed downstairs to the 900 Global Showcase Lanes. If you'd like to see him today or anytime while you're in Reno for the 2013 USBC Open or Women's Championships, feel free to do so. You can go get some tips from Mr. McNeil, a USBC Silver coach. They'll tell you what to do, how to play the pattern here at the Open Championships. They'll give you the opportunity to practice for an hour on the team lane condition and give you some tips and help you potentially achieve 35-38, the new team score. Eric Pearson, lane man extraordinaire, women's championships tournament manager, 35-38. Can you put it in perspective, please?
Very large. How's that?
It was amazing to be a part of, to watch yesterday. I don't know if you made it into the building to see it happen, but sure you heard about it.
I was getting updates, just game by game score. I figured this is one of the powerhouse teams. We kind of talked about a little bit of what we're seeing with them back when we watched Nicholas Jays the other night. And I recall mentioning that I think you're going to see a lot of big 1100s, and some of the real powerhouse teams are going to come in and light them up. Didn't mention any of them by name, but this is definitely one of them. And they may have put up the winning number. I talked to these guys. Actually, I ran into them at dinner last night. And their thought process was, well, we put up that number. There's other really good teams that are just as capable of putting up the same or even bigger numbers. So, but then again, there's a couple real humble guys on this team, and they downplay all of their successes. So we'll see. That score might win by 100. It might get knocked off by a handful. I don't know what to say at this point.
Well, in talking to them after the fact, it'd be easy to go out and celebrate and call it a day at 35-38, but they've been around this game and this event long enough to know that that's only 1/3 of the way done. They had a lot of work to do. Team all events still a big possibility, and that's a goal. So they didn't want to focus too much on yesterday's success just yet. Plenty of time to celebrate that when they're done. But big picture is what they're looking at, and now they have some work to do. They need 2,300 here in the last 2 games of singles to get there. 10,065, a big number on top, and of course they had a pretty nice head start, but things not going quite as smoothly today in doubles and singles, and they have some work to do. But if anybody can do it, I think these guys certainly have the talent and the experience to throw the big shots when they need to. They proved that yesterday, but it's time to start striking.
Yeah, we were actually over at the convention center this morning as our build continues in preparation for the women's championships. And I got a chance to speak a little bit with Lou Trunk. He's our head mechanic when we have the tournaments held in a convention center setting. And we were just kind of joking around about the, records, all event scores, and kind of ran some numbers. And just looking at that, the Pollard's Bowl, 10,425, we still figured they had to average about 689 a series today for all their doubles and singles. So a couple of 34-40s to get to the all-time record. So that really puts in perspective how big the all events record is. The fact that they went 538 over and still have to come out the next day and average 690 a guy to break that record. And then the more I thought about it, the fact that we are on fresh oil for doubles is really going to turn around and slow that number down.
And that's what we saw out here today after the 35-38 last night. The team was able to put up 31-25 in their doubles effort. And that seems to be the slow point for all the teams this year, outside of Team Tilt, who went 34-78 during their double set.
Yeah, I just think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic of the tournament now with all the fresh oil squads, the 2 different patterns. Really looking at the records that you see when you come in the venue, some of those numbers, in my initial opinion, could be untouchable. Who's ever going to shoot the doubles record now that it's on fresh? Singles, 862 for singles. So the one record that was reachable, and this is probably the year to do it, is the one you saw happen last night.
Well, speaking of records and folks who are familiar with the records, John Janowitz here. Legitimate chance at the all events lead here in 2013. He got it done in 2004. You were here for that. You got to see it in person. 858 in singles, then a record to the highest 3-game set at the event. As you mentioned, 862 since topping that number, but 858 on the way to 2 titles. And now he's in position again to shoot a pretty solid all events number. 727 for the lead at this point, and 279 start, so plenty out there. But how cool would that be to see JJ get back on top, and then after everything he's accomplished, a 5-time Team USA member, 2 wins here, and then help his team potentially into the team all events lead. Certainly, you can speak to his versatility, and you know him personally. As far as his work with Kegel on the lanes and
Yep.
traveling the world, and talk about what we're seeing here with him and how he's holding it together.
Yeah, I didn't see any bowling yesterday. I wasn't in the venue for the team event. And a little bit I've been in the stadium today. I've been doing some registration numbers for the women's tournament. So this is the first couple balls I've seen actually roll down the lane. Not necessarily surprised to see them as deep as they are. I really kind of feel like with the 39-foot pattern, the way it's shaped, the angles to start are out there, and the ability to get left and get the ball right and get it around the corner is definitely out there. It kind of fits into the styles of some of the players here. So not surprised to see JJ in where he's at. I think it's remarkable that he may not be a record holder now in 2 events, but over the course of bowling his career, he's now actually helped set the record. Obviously, the singles event a few years ago, and I heard he just absolutely crisp 3 shots off his hand yesterday to take the record by 1 stick, was it? 1 pin?
Yeah, and he had no idea either. And as we talked about numerous times today, he gets up there every shot, and his goal is to knock down all 10 pins for the good of his score, for the team, you name it. It doesn't matter if they're bowling for 2,800 or 3,800. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same effort out of JJ. He said it was probably better that he didn't know, but now he's got to be thinking. He's got to know he's a numbers guy. He's been there before, and now he's almost lofting the left gutter. Not a good shot there, but he's got to know what he needs at this point.
Yeah, he's starting to get into the range he was at back when he set that record. We were here to watch him when he shot the 858. Every ball he threw, he got a little bit deeper on the lane. When he ended up finishing singles, he was physically laying the ball down on the first board on the left side of the lane. He wasn't quite to the point where he was lofting the gutter. But that real deep, steep angle. And back in those days, we used some different oils. We were bowling on twister pins that year. He really had some steep angles that year. He's pretty close to that right now, watching him. Obviously, back then, bowling equipment completely different. Lane oil completely different. We used Prodigy that year. Prodigy was a type of oil that didn't carry down very much. And when the hole blew open down at the back end, you just kept moving your feet and feeding the ball to that spot. And you had the ball still retained enough energy to get around the corner, and he just opened up the lane that day. Incredible. So here it looks like he made a little move left to find a little more oil for push, and the ball went through this spot for the 2-4-8-10. But yeah, this just the whole team here is amazing competitors, very knowledgeable.
Well, they certainly have 2 very solid teams here. Let's not discredit hammerbowling.com 32-47 yesterday to crack the top 10 in team event as well. Those guys around us today. Jeff Ussery, 240 to start singles. Sean Lee, 178. So those guys struggling a little bit. Down on our other side, Keith Nolan, 216, 177. And Mike Seeley, 204, 193. And their 5th guy, Matt Gilman, on the pair we're watching right now, 182 to start. But striking here in game number 2 of singles. And, of course, the big story of the day, Lodge Lanes 2 needs just over 2,300 here in the last 2 games of singles if they're going to take the top spot in team all events. John Janowitz needing just 727 for the regular all events lead. Vernon Peterson needs 243, and he's not striking here in singles, started with 205 and just 1 strike here in game 2. So it's kind of on JJ's shoulders here as far as really surging at this point. He's going to have to get lined up here. Looks like he's doing some calculations down there, potentially taking notes, trying to figure out what he needs to do to get over this this transition that he seems to be in at the moment.
And I don't know about you guys, but I know when I bowled a tournament, even though there's 3 on a lane, the pace is a little bit slower. It used to be 2. Sometimes you just get caught up in the rhythm of the bowling, and with the pace being much quicker in doubles and singles, you don't have as much time to think things through. Or what I find especially is watching my teammates. After I throw my shot, if I'm not lined up and I'm not comfortable, I'm trying to figure out what else could I be doing. Is it a line move? Is it a ball change? So while you're doing all those things, your mind's not focused on helping your teammates. So I think the 3 on a lane is going to really help that. Slow down the pace a little bit, get your thoughts together, have a chance to watch your teammates' ball reactions. The fact that now 6 of your 10 could possibly be on the same pair, so all 5 of one team could be together. I think that's going to really help, but like right now at this point, I don't see a whole lot of communicating going on, but John and Scott seem to be the 2 here trying to find something. John Gaines, one of the most cerebral bowlers I've ever met. This guy thinks everything through. He's been there, done that. And he needs to get something going here. He'll hopefully figure it out. But if your teammates aren't all lined up and kind of going through the rhythm here, it's hard to get that assistance. You really got to slow down and step back and take a look at all 5 players when you're going after the all events, team all events. Mitch is lined up well. Vernon, what a solid player he is. Sneaky good, Vernon Peterson.
Sneaky good from Eric Pearson.
Well, these guys cannot be sneaky today. The crowd's starting to gather around us. I wish I could see the bleachers behind us. The 3 p.m. team squad most likely in the building already. And the word is out. And these guys yesterday shot the highest team score in history and working on team all events right now. No doubt there's got to be handfuls and handfuls of people behind us somewhere looking on, trying to see how do the record holders play the lanes, and will they get to the top spot today. For those of you just tuning in, the rest of this broadcast will be archived on YouTube, youtube.com/BowlTV. Fingers crossed, as things didn't work out so well for them last year as far as that. But here we are, Matt Canizaro, Aaron Smith, and Eric Pearson live at the National Bowling Stadium behind lanes 27 and 28. 2013 USBC Open Championships history in the making. It's been an exciting 24 hours, and we're still almost done with game number 2 of singles here. We'll have calculations for you along the way.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the patterns play out kind of as expected. Team event, little longer, little more hold area. No trouble getting the ball to recover if your feet are squared up and your angles are right, but yet maybe a little bit of tug if you get the ball on the right line. Doubles and singles, shorter. The drop rush is 30 feet. So, once you start to get to the middle of the lane, the oil pattern's flattened out. It's not very far down the lane in applied oil. And you're starting to see that. If they don't feed the ball to the right spot, it goes high. I think once you reach a point where you're inside the middle of the load structure, that oil pattern flattens out and it hooks in the middle. So a little bit of advice that when you're starting out, if you see the ball hooking, moving left doesn't always mean the ball's going to push further and hold for you. It's not like bowling league at home. And you're definitely seeing that here with these guys. They're moving left, but that doesn't mean they're creating any hold area. They still have to get the ball to the right. So with that much angle, you start to take into account ball speed, rotation, and definitely the equipment choices that can float to that spot and then read it correctly, get around the corner, and knock all 10 pins down. It doesn't look like all 5 guys quite have that matched up yet, but pretty close here.
Well, pretty close. They're running out of time, Mr. Pearson. So Peterson makes a ball change there and likes what he sees. Now Gaines is going to step up, try to work on a double. Janowitz back on track as well. So the strikes coming here late in game number 2, but is it going to be enough? And are we going to see a big surge in game 3? We will see. Jabinski putting 41 years or so, 42 years of experience to work here. Open championships. He looks calm and ready to deliver. Possible 258 for him here in game 2. But the wild cards right now, John Gaines and Scott Newell need to get lined up.
And Jabinski has bounced back nicely after some struggles in early on in doubles. So he's been able to finally figure out this doubles and singles pattern and start striking. 224, strong start here in singles, and still got 250s out there with 3 more strikes. So let's see if he can lead them here in game number 2.
Well, these guys got a good look at the doubles and singles pattern at the Storm Bowlers Journal Championships down on the high side of the National Bowling Stadium, lanes 69 to 78. They did bowl 2 shifts, both on the fresh condition, 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. To get the best look they could at what they were going to be facing here in doubles and singles. They bowled extremely well. So they had to have gotten some good ideas over there. And then at this point, it's just a matter of how are the lanes going to change over the 6 games. I think that's the key with this new format. With all 6 games on one pair, you determine your own fate. You know, it's similar to the team event where you can use a little bit of strategy to play the lanes together. And a lot of groups will think big picture. They're going to think, well, how can we prepare these lanes for a big push in singles? You know, you don't want to say you're sacrificing your double set at all. You, of course, want to get the most pins you can at that point. But you have to realize you're going to spend 6 games there, and you have to have something playable out there. Eric, can you talk a little bit more about how that strategy might come into play, or kind of how the lanes should transition during doubles and singles?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, with the pattern being shorter, you know, your break point should actually be further away from the pocket than it is on the team event. I've been hearing from a lot of bowlers that they can actually start out fairly similar, that the ball can get to a spot fairly close. You know, so starting on the outside, I don't know, where did these guys start playing doubles? I wasn't here, so were they up the outside, or were they swinging the ball from the get-go?
They were a little further inside than where they were at yesterday, from what I was able to see.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe they decided there's enough angle there where they could stand a little farther left, throw it to the window, get it around the corner, and not necessarily break them down parallel and move in from there. They also might have felt that they broke down the team event enough that maybe that was an angle they were going to see for doubles and singles. Maybe after the team event transitioned. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a little surprised that they didn't start farther right. But, you know, with the way that their games are, rather than maybe play farther to the right, throw a little more surface, get the ball to stop, they decided they would play a little farther left and go around the pattern. That angle is definitely there, you know, but I'm assuming you have to throw the ball pretty sharp either way. I think the higher the quality of bowler, I would tend to think the more they're going to like the team event.
They are so far left now, in fact, that they're almost off screen when they step up on the approach. And again, 6 games with high rev players breaking down the lane pattern, and here we are. I mean, it's crunch time. They're certainly not uncomfortable by any means, but you know, it's going to take some accuracy and some great shots here down the stretch if they're going to get there.
And I've heard from a few players that they feel that the doubles and singles breaks down a little more than expected. I think it's maybe not that the oil is going away as much as it does transition a little bit. When you move left, you're just moving into a flatter portion of the pattern. So if you pull the ball or lay it short or turn it early, it's going to go high, which just gives you the impression that there's more and more hook. So like that ball there, much more of a hook and stop. And obviously the deeper you get and the less you want to throw it to the right, the more you need it to do that. Have layouts that are going to make the ball stand up and stop in front of the 3-pin, or you do a little more like a John Janowitz or what John Gaines is trying to do, and they're moving left and they're throwing the ball to the window and trying to get it to float around the corner and continue, kind of like this shot. It just doesn't have enough to get all the way around, but if he tightens that line up, that ball's probably going to go through the nose. So that's where you have to start looking at where your break point is and the layouts on the ball, changing the shape of that spot down the lane. The further it has to recover, the more it has to continue. And the tighter you want to keep that line, the more you need to get the ball to hook and stop. So Vernon actually looks like he's playing a little bit of that tighter line. It doesn't get quite as wide, but it also sees the friction, and as soon as it starts up, it stops quick and holds pocket.
All right, Eric, while we have this opportunity, sorry to interrupt, let's answer a couple questions in the chat room. Some folks are curious about what they're seeing and what's going on. Right now we're watching Lodge Lanes 2 in doubles and singles. This is the end of game 2 of singles. They are making a run at team all events, and of course shots like that not going to help the cause, but things progressing nicely. They set the all-time team event record yesterday, 35-38, and they're making their run in team all events right now. John Janowitz needs 727 to get the regular all events lead and help lead his team. They're going to have to communicate a little bit here heading into game 3. They're going to need a big finale. We'll have those scores for you along the way. If you're curious about the recap of yesterday's action, you can check that out on bowl.com. We had a story and all the scores. If you're curious about the leaderboards at the event, you can check out the Open Championships page on bowl.com and just go to the scores tab or the scores box, and you'll be able to see all kinds of scores from the event, from the actual double singles team all events, team all events, side events, year-long brackets, you name it, it's all on there. Once again, bowl.com, find the Open Championships page, bowl.com/openchamp is where to do that. And as soon as this game is over, Aaron's going to do some calculations. He'll tell you exactly what each guy has and what they need to either individually find success here in doubles and singles or in team all events. So we'll have all those numbers as it gets down to the wire. And then hopefully we'll be able to talk to one or two of these guys when it's all said and done. So stay tuned. We appreciate everybody joining us today. Matt Canizaro, Aaron Smith, and Eric Pearson here at the National Bowling Stadium 2013 USBC Open Championships.
Mitch Jabinski finishes with 2 opens for a 203 game 2 of doubles here. Matt Gilman up on the left lane. Strike will get him into the 230s. John Gaines, 3-time champion here at the event, looking to clean up the 610 and get into the 190s.
All right, Janowitz with 752 in the team event, needs just 727. I say just 727 here in singles to reach the all events lead. So we'll have the math for you along the way. But if you're doing math at home, once again, 752 in the team event. Aaron, what did he have in doubles?
676, Matt.
There it is, 676. Needs 727 to reach Joe Keltner, who leads regular all events, 54. So stay tuned for those numbers. Scott Newell now up on the right lane, possible 226. He's going to need every bit of it. As we've learned over the last 2 days, Eric and Aaron, keys to success here at the tournament. You got to get your count and you got to make your spares, especially when you're looking at a number like 3,500. Very important. And Scott Newell with the big wheel there for a strike double on the right lane. Again, possible 226. Vernon Peterson up, possible 204, and lucky to leave just the 3.
Where's the team event?
So when the all-time record came down to a single pin. And it's easy to go back and count a pin here, a pin there, a miss bear count. And Newell with a break there, so he's in the 220s.
False start on Vernon Peterson. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
Yeah, we've talked a little about the other night about the getting everybody lined up in a team event, that no matter how the lanes are playing, it's really hard to have all 5 guys or even 4 feel like they have the same look. You're lucky if 1 or 2 guys are out there hitting them, and if the 3rd and 4th guys are bowling fairly well, you're fortunate. But to get all 5 guys that lined up, not very commonplace. Well, now take that, and this is even more extreme. It's a little bit flatter pattern, shorter, so all those differences in styles and choices on how they're going to attack the lanes gets exaggerated. So it's, as hard as it is to get lined up for the team event, I feel that that's a little bit of definitely the softer pattern. There's more oil, longer pattern, more hold area. So as hard as it is to do there, for doubles and singles here, much harder. I think we're seeing a little bit of that, especially as they transition. Who keeps up with it? Who loses their look? That looked pretty good. And high. Really getting around the ball for JJ. To me, it doesn't look like the ball's floating through the fronts as easy as I would have thought it would be.
All right, so let's talk about Janowitz here. Just making a run at the all events lead, needs 727. And that's bare. No problem for the 2-time champ, 5-time Team USA member. And he's going to be the one giving the advice here, I think, as they're trying to get everybody lined up for a big run here in the last game of singles. So Janowitz can step up here for 216, and Aaron will have all the calculations for you in just a minute. What's it going to take individually and as a team in the final game of singles? I think it's going to be too much. I think the number is growing as far as team all events, but Janowitz still right on pace. So we'll see here in a minute. They're talking through this final shot. They want to get an idea, I think, possible ball change or a big move to get lined up for the finale.
Gary Hulsenberg, who went 279, front 8, game number 1. Finished game number 2 with 217, so he's at 496. 776 is leading, so Gary still has a window.
And his wife, Leanne Hulsenberg, the Hall of Famer, 214, 176. And Janowitz with the ball change. They're going to talk about that one. That's 216 for Double J. 279, 216. So he's at 495. Jabinski, 427. Peterson, 398. Gaines, 374. Newell, 408. So they're going to need a ton here if it's even possible still. Aaron's working on those calculations.
So does he have a major in PR and a minor in mathematics?
Well, he does have a cell phone with a calculator on it, so that makes everybody a mathematician now.
There you go. It looked like Janowitz and Gaines talking a little bit as JJ came off the lanes.
All right.
Aaron's got the numbers.
Nice and around to tie Team Tilt at 10,065. 1,300 on the nose for the tie, 1,301 to take the lead. So that is a very big number to be shooting at here in game number 9.
All right, so 1,300, and it's going to take a whole lot of strikes to get there already.
1,300?
1,300.
They only ended up plus 21 in game number 8 there as a group. So
So we'll probably be turning our attention primarily to Janowitz at this point. What does he need now for the lead? Looks like he needed 727 coming in, so he's at 495. So 230 will get him there. And we're surrounded by Pearsons.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I thought maybe there's a couple teams bowling this weekend that could make a run at the lead.
Does one of them include your son, perhaps?
It just might. And then I saw 35-38 put up there and went, oh boy.
Hopefully Chris is taking notes right now. Janowitz 232 is the number for 2154 or 2155 for the all events lead. So we'll keep an eye on him as this progresses. 1300. It's mathematically possible. We've said that before.
Well, the ball he threw in the fill looked like it stopped a little bit more than the ball he was throwing. He didn't quite circle around the pattern as much, but it did go a little high. So we'll see what happens. He had that one ball where he moved in and he left the 2-4-8-10, and I wouldn't be surprised if he creeps in there a little bit more with this ball.
For those of you watching at home and curious about what Janowitz has the first two games of singles, the scoreboard is in the top right-hand corner of your screen, 279, 216. You're able to follow along. First shot of the final game there, a 6-pin. So not happy with that reaction. But still plenty of room to get lined up and find his way to the top spot.
It's just amazing, but it doesn't look like any bowler on this pair of lanes has free push in the middle of the lane. The ball just doesn't fall back at all. And then once it gets down the lane, it sees the friction and goes left, or it burns up, doesn't get around the corner and leaves a 10-pin like you just saw for John Gaines. So I am sure they are doing all they can with equipment, little fine-tuned adjustments with their release, with loft. Nobody's just finding the magic here to get it all put together for to make the lane look opened up at all. It's either too early or not enough around the corner.
Well, the strategy this year a little bit different. Again, 6 on a pair for doubles and singles, and you do not move. So there's all 5 teammates on this pair of lanes, and a little bit different strategy coming into doubles and singles with trying to break the lanes down and work together to create something playable later on. It's all part of the strategy of the game. And as we said earlier, the opportunity to practice on the lane conditions available. You can practice on the team pattern downstairs at the 900 Global Showcase lanes, or on the doubles and singles pattern over at the Storm Bowlers Journal Championships, just a few lanes away at the high end of the National Bowling Stadium. But things continue to not go well here for Lodge Lanes 2. And again, 1,300 is the number they need. And you're looking at right now a 7 count and a Greek church for 2 of the teammates. So I think at this point they're going to get all they can, but it's time to think about celebrating the team record and being the team leaders, and leave team all events this year for somebody else. So, of course, still going to communicate. Very good individual sets out there. Janowitz needs 232 for the all events lead. Brendan Peterson having a good year as well. These guys spent a lot of time in the building since they've been here for the last few days, watching the team event 2 days ago, bowling in the Bowlers Journal Championships. I believe 2 of them potentially went downstairs to the showcase lanes. There's also a 2-game challenge down there, and Who's Got the Look Baker Bonanza. 2 great side events for a lot of fun. Great shot there from JJ. So he seems to have found the right ball and is back on track. Still looks perplexed. He always kind of does. But
yeah, JJ, he's got his little quirks about him, but it's always thinking. Doesn't get too emotional, keeps himself in check all the time. Only seen him angry once or twice ever, and I don't even know if you could call it anger. But just watching that last shot he threw just looked like a whole lot of effort, didn't it? Just a lot going on to make a good shot here.
There's a good shot from Jabinski. A break. The 4 and the 9 go out late. And, he's glad to get that one. I think he knows. He was over here earlier asking what the numbers were. And he's a team all-events champion back in 1987. I think he knows that it's pretty much out of the wood at this point. As Peterson back on track with a double now.
You know, for me, every time I see that ball that Vernon's throwing get to the pocket, I just think it's going to leave a flat 10. So maybe it's just the colorings of the ball. I'm not quite seeing the motion well enough, but to me it doesn't look like it's rolling that well, but the pins are telling him it's pretty good.
Well, I think if anybody in this booth knows a little bit about flat corner pins, Mr. Pearson, it would be the tall guy in the red shirt standing next to me. You can blame that on me forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, I didn't realize I got the 10th one with you standing there. I guess I was too focused. Didn't notice that the black cat had wandered into the settee area on my pair of lanes.
Eric Pearson had the front 10 back in Las Vegas in 2009, and I don't know why, I don't know how, but didn't get all of the 11th one and left a flat 7 pin for 289.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of shots. I had a couple other ones that were pretty lucky too. So
thankfully for us,
you can only ask for so many breaks. I think I tripped a 6-8 that game. And I think I also had a pretty slow 6 pin on the same lane. So,
well, thankfully for us, JJ performs much better when the camera's on than you do. So,
yeah, well, I'm not good. So,
sure, you're very good. You're just a much better lane maintenance expert, Women's Championships manager, and we appreciate all of your hard work there.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go. Things are going. The lanes are in. The carpeting is in. They're starting to construct the framing around the few bleachers that we're going to have. Starting to see some of the wallpaper graphics go up. So things are starting to take shape. The staff is actually in town. Had our 2 days of orientation. Get them prepared, and they're all there in the venue today, cleaning up, getting all their supplies and equipment out of all the crates that we ship from city to city. So,
well, as you know, we'll be bringing you some exciting live streaming action from the Women's Championships this year as well. We'll be over there a handful of times to see some of the best women in the world. Try to get it done on 44 specially constructed lanes there at the Reno Sparks Convention Center. So if you'd like to check out that schedule, just go to bowl.com. Live stream schedule is on the main page down on the right-hand side, or you can just type live stream into the search box. But now, speaking of searching, we're searching for a new all events leader here, and John Janowitz has applied. He needs just 232 in his final game of singles to take the top spot. 21:54 currently leading Joe Keltner from Wichita, Kansas. Janowitz now up looking for a double.
And he delivers.
John Gaines comes up to check the numbers. I think he knows that team all events isn't going to happen for them this year, but he was curious about what Janowitz needs. Certainly they're not going to tell Double J what's going on. He doesn't need to know. He's just focused on, again, every shot, every pin. But these guys will take the opportunity to get a little excited for JJ as it comes down to it. Again, 232, the magic number here. Starts game 3 with spare, double, and whatever ball change he made, it looks absolutely phenomenal. He threw 2 great shots there. I know he's still thinking through it, taking notes and doing some things, but he's focused, and we're going to see another great shot here, no doubt.
Yeah, the ball Scott Newell just threw was much calmer down the lane at the break points. I don't know if it was a slightly stronger ball or a weaker ball with some surface on it, but it definitely had more of a roll to it, controlled the back end, and actually held the pocket. We'll see if he can get something going. Doesn't have much of a game so far.
Here's Janowitz up on the left, looking for 3 in a row.
Definitely going around it, but not quite as wide, so he's getting the ball to stop a little faster.
I don't think I've ever seen him throw it as well as he has over the last 2 days. And again, versatility. He's like 25 boards left to where he was yesterday.
I've never seen him throw
least.
it bad.
I've seen him not win, but I've never seen him throw it this well. He's in the zone for sure.
Yeah, definitely versatile. I mean, any type of player that's going to make the Team USA has to have all those skills. You go through the trials, you play patterns anywhere from the first 2 boards on the lane to as far as lofting the left gutter. JJ's got it all.
Jabinski 7-10 on the left lane, and with every shot, the number further and further out of reach. Certainly a fantastic effort and a great head start yesterday with the team record 35-38. These guys certainly have a lot to celebrate leaving Reno today. Hopefully a little bit more if Janowitz can polish off this one. Vernon Peterson's not done yet.
Not done at all. He's unfortunately the all events number is gone here, but first 4 strikes to start game number 3.
Well, he'll have a solid year. He'll grab his spot on the leaderboards for sure, and a nice little paycheck at the end of the day. 772 to lead the surge in the team event yesterday. So certainly got to feel good about that. And again, he came into singles needing 743 to catch the lead. So he'll be a little short of that, but phenomenal year. And again, it's really, for these guys, I know it. It's all about the team event and the team effort. And they couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I'm sure they all know what's going on right now. They're mainly focused on JJ and Vernon putting up a number. I don't want to say John's going through the motions here, but the ball either doesn't get around the corner, or it goes earlier and goes high. He probably feels trapped. Just can't get that right, whatever fine-tune adjustment is to get what he needs. But on the other hand, I think he just accepts it. He's there for the other guys. He'll keep trying whatever he can, but
that's something
part of it will be to get out of the way.
Something McNeil touched on before you stepped in starting singles here about how these guys were kind of handcuffed a little bit in doubles, and it was more important about finding ball reaction than putting together scores at that time. And some of them have been able to do it, and some of the others have struggled to find a consistent line to the pocket.
Newell with another split there, so they're about at that number. So we'll do a quick calculation here and see exactly where they're at.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised coming in. I when I first popped in the building, I got a quick glance at their first game of doubles and saw a lot of 180s and 190s out here, and was a little surprised. Yeah, it just doesn't look quite like anything's been developed even remotely forgiving.
Well, by my calculations here, 1292, the best number they can get to, and that's going to leave them short in team all events. So again, the focus right now on Janowitz, and he needs just 232 for the top spot in all events. Working on spare 3 in a row. He is throwing it great. He's lined up, and the guys know it. They're all eyes on him at this point. See if he can get there.
Yeah, it starts to make you wonder. I mean, every single one of these guys has a ton of credentials, whether it's Team USA, USBC Eagles, PBA Regionals, national titles, high roller experience. They've all been around. They've all done a ton, but yet it boggles the mind that some of them can get really lined up and other ones are confused. You start to wonder how sharp some of them are throwing the ball, and those are the questions you just have to find out from the bowlers when they're done.
So if Janowitz manages to strike out here, he'll finish with 22-13, which is just shy of his winning total in 2004. He shot 858 and 22-24 to get the dual win that year. I think scores are going to be a little bit higher this year, but 2,200 anytime is a phenomenal number. And we'll see if he can get there right now. Spare 4 in a row He needs just 232, but certainly can grab a little bit extra here. Possible 22-13 out there for Janowitz. And the rest of the guys right now, they're going to enjoy the rest of their 2013 USBC Open Championship experience. Cheer each other on as they come to a close here. We're back half of game number 3 in singles. And of course, they'll always be known as the guys that took down the 20-year-old team record here yesterday. 35-38, current leaders and record holders. Lucas Wiseman back at USBC headquarters, crunching some numbers as well, keeping the Facebook and Twitter worlds updated on what's going on here, getting some people to tune in and see if Janowitz can reclaim his spot atop the leaderboards here at the National Bowling Stadium as he did in 2004. Our USBC Hall of Famer, Leanne Holstenberg, as we said, we originally tuned in to see her today before yesterday's record performance. She was a few pairs away, shooting 214 and 176. Her husband, Gary, starts singles 279, 217. And a couple strikes and an open here in game number 3. So we're not going to see a new singles leader at the moment over there.
Yeah, Vernon definitely got that one in a little bit. The angles were a little tighter in the front. That ball had no chance, and he knew it.
Janowitz possible 785 out there for singles. Spare 4 in a row, looking for 5 here on the left lane.
Push, push, push.
776 currently leading regular singles. 2154 in all events. So
the most amazing part about his 858 on the twisters was the fact that he could carry the off hits. A lot of times with the twisters, if you're just a smidgen high, you leave a 9-pin. Real easy to leave flat 10s. But when you hit light, those things act like ping pong balls. And that's what he had going that year. He just, even some of his off shots that weren't quite right, they got to the pocket in a good spot. Obviously, he struck, all but 3 frames that year?
Yeah, well, yeah.
279, 300.
And then a fill ball, I believe.
279.
Yeah.
Not a bad day at the office.
So right now, Janowitz challenging Matt McNeil for ownership of the National Bowling Stadium. Janowitz with another 5 strikes here. Could leave as the leader in 3 events. And obviously you can't win unless you're in the lead, but wow, what a performance.
I'm fairly confident Matt's going to make his mark some more here this year. You know, by all means, we've seen great ball reaction in the team event on both sides of the lane. And quite possibly here with the doubles and singles pattern playing a little bit flatter and a little bit shorter. That did not slow him down last year in Baton Rouge, at least not the one event. So they're a hair different. The structure's a hair different this year, drop rush, things like that. But he has a lot of confidence in this building. I'm expecting him to bowl very well this year again.
Well, the man of the hour, John Janowitz. We do appreciate everybody joining us today. Lucas just told me this is our most viewed live stream of the year. I think it's because Eric Pearson stopped by. Everybody got the word and tuned in. More than 1,100 people tuned in right now. Checking this out, I believe is the number, as Janowitz making a run here at singles and all events.
We have a quite lopsided left-handed crew here at the table, though.
It's always that way. Even our good friend Andy Zumwalt is weighing the left side down, watching JJ's performance.
Janowitz with 6 in a row, and things growing a little bit quiet here. The rest of the squad are winding down. Folks heading back for the to the squad room for the 3 p.m. team event, and I kind of feel like I'm screaming here. I don't want to disturb anybody, but certainly some fans around, and hopefully everybody knows the numbers. But yeah, it's possible that JJ can get the lead in team, singles, and all events, and he's on his way. 279, 216, and then a spare 6 in a row here in game 3 of singles. So
Yeah, I don't know what he's switched to, but the other balls that I kind of got out in that area that he's swinging it to for the other players earlier were all going high. So whatever decision he's made here, working out very well.
And of course, he switched to that ball on the fill last game. And after going a little high, leaving a 6-pin to start game number 3 here, it's been nothing but X's.
well, we try not to disappoint here. Every time we turn on the live stream camera, just because we expect some sort of excitement, and Janowitz certainly trying to give it to us today, as he's making his run in singles and all events. And this is not just the only live stream action on Bowl TV this year or coming up anytime soon. Lucas Wiseman will be headed on the road in just a couple weeks. He's headed to the collegiate singles and team. So the intercollegiate team and singles championships happening in Lincoln, Nebraska, and live streaming coverage begins April 16th on Bowl TV. So check out that schedule on bowl.com. Once again, Lucas Wiseman headed out to intercollegiate team and singles championships, and Aaron Smith and I will be here in Reno for the Open and Women's Championships all the way through July. Eric Pearson will be with us as well, and we'll bring you all of the action again. We saw some excitement earlier this year. We had a 299 on the broadcast, and now potentially a leader in all events. So Jada was getting ready to step up on the team and add to our archives of excitement here at the National Bowling Stadium. Janowitz yesterday actually seemed to struggle at the end of his Bowler Journal session. I don't believe he struck in his last game, but he saved all his strikes for today.
Break it up.
And a terrible break there. Gets the 4 to go late, leaves just the 7-10 here. So 232, the number he needs for the all events lead. Singles now, not a possibility.
He's going to be right down to that number.
I was going to say, with he's
230s.
in the 230s right now on pace. Unless we see a little more magic here on the live stream.
Does not get the 10 to bounce out. So
I'll
he's
get
going to have some work to do here in the final 2 frames. Possible 246. 256, I'm sorry.
It's 196 in the 8th. Still a lot out there.
Yeah, so he's going to have to keep it clean and good count here, and he's okay.
So 2179 still out there. He needs just 2155 to become the new leader in all events. And he's scribbling some notes and thinking through that. He's going to have to finish on that lane. So hopefully he learned something on that shot and will make the necessary adjustment after 6 in a row. He looks surprised at the reaction. Maybe just a bad shot. Hard to know. We'll hear from him afterwards. Again, possible 256. He needs just 232 for the top spot. Here comes Janowitz up on the right lane, and 196 in the 8th frame. So he's going to need count and to stay clean for sure to squeak into the lead. But he doesn't seem like a squeaker. He seems like he wants to get as much as he can. So 2179 still out there.
Half 10 stands for Janowitz.
You know, and again, that's, you hear that number, and in the recent years, that doesn't seem like a very big number. But the fact that you got to come out both fresh for team and a fresh doubles event, and hopefully they transition decent for singles, we could see a fairly high drop-off for the top number in the all events this year, where we kind of got the habit of seeing some 22s and even some decent 23s. We might be looking at a high 21 this year.
Well,
To put it together on 2 different patterns, 2 of them fresh.
2169 still out there for Janowitz. There's the team all events number. Long gone. Now it's just a matter of personal satisfaction and a solid effort here. They're going to leave the record holders and the leaders in the team event. Jenna was trying to grab all events as well. We do appreciate everybody joining us. Matt Canizaro, Eric Pearson, and Aaron Smith live at the 2013 USBC Open Championships. And hopefully we'll be able to get a few words with Janowitz when it's all said and done. Either way, again, he just needs a solid 10th frame here, and he'll be our leader. And they're going to talk through what's happening on the left lane. Gaines just got a split as well after Janowitz 7-10 on that lane, so he's going to need to make a move for a big 10th frame. Eric Pearson, what do you think? What would you do in this case?
I think he knows he didn't throw the last one on the left lane as well as he had the string of strikes. The ball halfway down the lane seemed to be slowing down already, so either the lane had changed a little bit and it surprised him, but he saw it, or he felt it that it wasn't the same, and he just knew that was all me. And go back and make his shot here again on the left lane with maybe to play it safe. Maybe he's going to jump another board, or 1 in or 2 in. Definitely doesn't want to go high. And we've only really seen 1 light pocket split, and that was from JJ, but I believe, was it on the right lane in the second game? 2-4, 8-10. Was that the first?
Yeah.
That was way back in the first game.
Yeah, that was on the right lane, and he was shuffling through
And I
some
believe
ball
at that
changes.
point he had made a big move and got surprised that the ball didn't even see the lane at all, and probably crept back right or made some other adjustment. I just think he's going to be aggressive here. He's going to keep his speed up to get the ball through the spot, take his chances on what it does at the break point. If it's a 10-pin or a light 7, he'll be more than happy.
Well, we're going to keep our eye on Janowitz. Aaron's going to do some calculations on the rest of the crew and get us an unofficial team all events number. They will not be the leaders. But, right now our focus on 5-time Team USA member, 2-time Eagle winner John Janowitz stepping up on the left lane. Needs 232 for the top spot in all events.
Lane breakdown, 2 lanes over, a little blackout. Hopefully that doesn't affect him.
Big shot here for Janowitz. He likes it. It's enough. He needs to fill it up here, and we'll have a new all events leader possible. 2169 is the number right now. 232 is what he needs. With the spare here, he needs at 236. Strike here puts him in the 240s. Peterson with a little excitement for the live stream viewers. He's looking at a good single set as well. Jabinski finishes with 616. Gaines 587. Newell 574. The man of the hour, John Janowitz, needs 232.
That's pretty solid.
John Janowitz is clutch. That's all I can say after yesterday. Barry's 3 in the 10th. There's your new all events leader for the second time in his career.
I was just going to say, does this seem familiar at all?
Yeah, it's like yesterday all over again. Janowitz can throw the big shot when he needs it.
Yeah, that second shot was no doubt. The first one, it looked like he moved in, lofted it a little bit more over the edge of the lane, stayed firm. It definitely read up like it looked like it wanted to go high. that second shot there, not even close. It was firm on line, got down the lane easily, and lane 25 is still having trouble.
Here's Janowitz so far left. He's off camera. There he is, loft in the gutter.
Same shot.
Fills it up, 246, 21-69. Your new all events leader, he's pretending he had no idea. Maybe he didn't, but they're congratulating him now, getting him that number. We'll talk to him in just a minute. The rest of the groups are going to finish up here, and we'll grab Janowitz and have a few words from him and see what he's feeling right now, leading in 2 events at the Open Championships. Eric Pearson, we appreciate you being with us today. Aaron Smith is going to do some calculations, see if we can't get JJ up here in just one second.
Glad I had a chance to stop by. When's our next date?
April 6th. Henry Teets III, one of your,
Teets.
your Wisconsin
All right.
guys.
All right, so Milwaukee boys. Bowling and doing shots with Ron Vokes.
Bowling shots, of course, right?
All right, see you then.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson.
All right, there it is. There's our scoreboard. Took forever to get there. And we'll grab a camera here, and we'll try to get Janowitz on camera and talk to him for a minute. And so just sit tight. We'll be right back. Aaron Smith's going to do the calculations. And I'll grab JJ and be right back.
All right, folks. As far as team all events ended up, Lodge Lanes 2 fell a little bit short of the number. 10,065 sent by Team Tilt out of Lawrence, Kansas. Our unofficial count has them at 9,820, which will put them into second place. Individually, John Janowitz, new all events leader, led the way with 2169, followed by Vernon Peterson, 2051, Mitch Jabinski, 1887, John Gaines, 1880, and finally Scott Newell, 1833.
Just 1 second, we'll have John Janowitz with us. And we'll chat for a couple of minutes here. We got Chris Pearson working the camera, so here we go. All right, and we're live. So here we are, Matt Cannizzaro and John Janowitz. We're going to talk about today. Obviously, you guys came in yesterday with a huge record score, leading the team event. 35-38 was the number. Talk about today and just the strategy and the pressure and what the mindset was coming in after yesterday's performance.
Well, I mean, like I said, we knew they were going to be a little harder today, and we tried to keep somewhat of the same game plan. We wanted to try to stay right to, try to, if anything, try to break down the lane and not get too far left too fast. But it just looked like after a few frames, we couldn't get any ball reaction at all. And we kind of talked a little bit about it after a couple of frames. I think we need to find some way to move left just to at least see some holds, because we couldn't see enough hold going up the lane. But then as soon as we went away, being to the right, that area seemed like around outside of like 7 just wasn't it wouldn't get back every time. And also, for me, the right lane kind of hung a little bit down the lane. So I think between the two, it was too hard for us to to get decent ball reaction, and so we kind of collectively all moved in a little bit. We probably moved in closer to probably like around 12 to 15 as a group, and then we just ended up having to just chase it in from there. At least we were able to get to the pocket a little bit, to start out with, because it was a little tough for the first few frames there.
All right, well, you were able to grind it out in doubles, 676. And then I don't know if you guys talked about the numbers or if it even mattered at that point. I would imagine it was get what you can get.
Yeah.
And, it was a huge number that you guys needed in singles as a group for team all events.
Right.
And then you needed 727 coming into singles, shot 279. At any point, did the possibility of all events creep into your head? Or, again, we talked yesterday, you're just about strike every time, get every pin you can.
Yeah, like I said, all events is not I don't really look at that at all. It just, it sounds so cliche, but you just have to take it one ball at a time. You can't get too far ahead of yourself, looking too far forward, because then when you're not in the present, your focus just isn't going to be there. And at least I know for me, I have a hard time going that far ahead in the future. So you just try to look at one frame at a time, and just talk it over as a group collectively on what you're seeing, so that way we can all work together to make good moves.
Well, walk us through the final game here of singles. We're looking at the scoreboard right now.
Yeah.
But you start spare 6 in a row after a ball change at the end of game number 2.
Yep.
And then the split 4-7-10 turned into a 7-10, and a terrible hole right there. But I saw you and Gaines talking a little bit. He went ahead and on the next shot he left a split as well.
Yeah.
What did you guys talk about at that point, and how do you refocus to finish strong on that lane even for 3 strikes to take the lead?
Yeah, because I knew that I didn't throw it that bad. I didn't think for that 7-10. So when he came off, and especially when he hit the nose too, I was going to ask him, but he came up to me and said, I think that lane's busting down really, really fast. So I just moved another 4 off of that and just try to make sure I got I'm getting kind of close to the gutter there. Just give it a little air just to make sure that it gets down the lane. And it was a good guess. Fortunately, it was a good guess. So.
All right. Well, you've been here before. You're the all events leader leaving the building. Not as high as last time.
No.
2169, I believe, is the final number this time.
Okay?
And you guys just missed on the team all events as well. But can you sum up the weekend so far? Obviously, the team record, the team lead, probably the most special of it all, and then leaving as all events leader too.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the all events is kind of secondary. To me, the team was the biggest thing more than anything else. Because frankly, I mean, I've won the 2 individual eagles, so I'd like to be able to share that, and also to be able to do that and break a record at the same time was really one of the most gratifying things I've ever had a chance to do. So, but yeah, I mean, to lead all events is great. I personally I don't think it's going to hold up, but I mean, it's okay though. I mean, it's you do all you can, and that's you lay it all on the table, and whatever happens. Because I mean, I know in order to win any event here, I mean, you really got to have all the stars line up. I mean, just perfectly. So, I mean, we'll just see what happens.
Well, let's close out by talking about yesterday, and the record. You were the guy. You stepped up and delivered the 3 strikes that solidified it. You guys took it by a pin, just 1 pin. All 3 games, all the way, came down to that. You didn't know at the time.
No.
But now that you've had a day to let it sink in and think about what you guys accomplished as a group and what you personally did, capping it off, can you just talk about that as you leave today?
Well, like I said, I mean, the 3 and the 10th is kind of secondary. I mean, it's a complete team effort to even get to that point. I mean, we worked very well as a group, communicating on staying on top of the lane changes, and to me that was the biggest thing more than anything else. So, I mean, if you come in the 10th, to have a chance to take to break a record, that's great. But I mean, without these guys, there's no way, no way we get there. I mean, we all collectively bowled, really, really well. Like anything else, you always leave a few pins on the table. But I mean, in 3 hours when you bowl 180 frames, I don't think anybody could ever say that they didn't leave any pins on the table. So it happens. But I mean, to me, that was really the highlight actually of my career.
All right. Well, you guys worked very hard. You put in the time, the work. So would you say the keys to success: communication, teamwork, hard work, preparation, and cupcakes?
Yeah, cupcakes most importantly, actually. But no, seriously, yeah, preparation was really a lot of it. A lot of communication before the tournament. Practicing on the patterns and just seeing what they see. what each other sees in the different centers, equipment-wise, what seems to be, reading the lane in the right spot on the given patterns, which of course, when you're in different centers, you have different lane services, different, lane machines. It's never going to be exactly the same, but, the communication and preparation is really the biggest thing. Between this tournament and the Team USA trials, these are the two tournaments by far that I prepare the most for and prepare months in advance for. So it's always good to see that the hard work does pay off.
All right, well, we'll let you go. We got some folks who want to take your picture, talk to you for a few minutes, so we appreciate it. Congratulations again on a solid effort all around.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
And we'll talk to you soon. The next few months are going to be difficult. The wait, you've been there.
Yeah.
You know where bowl.com is, the leaderboards. A lot of folks will be gunning for you guys now.
Yeah.
But go celebrate, enjoy it. You guys are the record holders and the leaders, and go enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right, well, thanks. This is John Janowitz, and we're going to take one more second to take a look at the scoreboard real quick. And no, we're not, because it's gone. So that's going to do it from the National Bowling Stadium today. Again, Matt Cannizzaro, John Janowitz, our new all-events leader, and he's going to go join his team, the record holders, 35-38, the new number. And that's the standard here at the Open Championships this year in 2013. So I want to thank Aaron Smith, Eric Pearson, Matt McNeil, Chris Pearson for joining us today. And that is going to do it. So we're going to sign off, and we'll see you guys next time, April 6th. Henry Teast III putting a singles title on the line. Thank you, and we'll see you on the lanes.